Hey, everybody. Yeah,
Hey.
so true. My honest reaction.
Hey, y'all.
My grogness reaction.
My grogness reaction. What a good show.
What's up? What's up, brother?
Shall we get into it?
Good for
Let's
it.
just jump right into it.
When the party last left off, they had recently come to Chibalo, and after going through a small series of ordeals, currently are in the process of attempting to get coverage and have a bit of counsel with the city's higher ups. It's at this point, while y'all are waiting nearby outside, that you see a certain little rifter strolling through the street.
Ah, Rifter, you missed all the fun last night.
Oh yeah? What happened?
Well, Dyer and Zeus put on quite the little show last night.
Show. I love shows.
You would have been a very valuable member of our little escapade. I think it could have even sweetened the pot even more, which is hard to believe because everything went off without a hitch.
Oh? Do tell.
Well, you see, Dyer had this great plan where we, disguise ourselves, go in, try and find some information, so that we can, clean up things here a little bit. And everything was going well. And then this scum of a politician guy, right, starts trying to be all like, oh, well, it seems like maybe you're not, I don't like you. And so it was a whole big thing. We started to get arrested. We made it out. But now, Darius has made a very great ally, and we've been accepted into what we need to do, going under the what are we? Have we determined? Is it a capital? Is it a government building?
Oh, yes, it's a government building. Never mind.
You don't
As it's-
sound too happy about it.
Oh, I'm quite happy about the results of what happened. How we got there was a little bit frustrating.
Headache-inducing, one might say.
Migraine.
Fair enough, you have to deal
Approaching
with it more than I did,
stroke.
so.
Maybe you want to know? Maybe we should have plans like this for the future. Because Dyer and I thought we were like, this is just what happens. This seems to be the game plan. So, I mean, is there anything? Is there? Maybe we should have a strategy for the group.
The core issue that I have with this, with what happened, is I understand now, in retrospect, the point of what your actions were. However, does it really irk me when you start off our diplomatic conversation implying that you are the enemies of the current state. And
In fairness, I was taking Dyer's lead, and Dyer, he gets a little bit excited.
I understand.
I look over at Dyer, he's half asleep. He gets so excited.
I don't really blame him. I don't really blame you, but it could have been so much easier.
You want to know what? In sight of trying to bring the group together, I'll agree with you. From here on out, you name the game plan, we'll follow it.
The divines up above. Are you really Zeus?
Well, I in order to, shit on you even more, I figure I have to give a little bit more leeway,
Ah,
I
yes. What is it? Butter me up so that I slip even further.
Exactly. I'm happy you understand.
Ah, yes.
So, what's the plan from here on out?
We have a time slot to speak with I'm not even quite sure. what I heard was we have an hour before we plead our case, quote unquote. So I'm going to approach and lay out the case that we have the capability to solve the issues that are happening below ground under Chibalo. You weren't here, but it's been closed off entirely, and I've made the assumption that if there wasn't something wrong, they would have repurposed it instead of sealing it.
Okay, I mean, that's fair, but what happens if it's a problem, you know, like a plague or something that we can't stop?
Well, if you recall the last time we were down there, we very much have it.
Oh no. Oh, is it perhaps
Most
maybe
likely.
Oh no.
In fact, we could stab it so many times because it wouldn't die.
yeah.
So we got ourselves these wonderful little weapons here as he pulls out of the bag of holding like the end of his wooden spear and puts it back in. So that we can stab them thousands of times in a single stab.
Okay, well, alright. I think I remember, perhaps, that little detail. Yeah, okay, alright, I figured it out.
Hmm. Well,
only wood will work on these things.
and assuming they know of the whole incident with the tomb, if you recall, how dozens of undead spilled forth and caused something of an issue. I'm going to appeal to that and say that kind of situation can be avoided if they allow us.
Sounds like a good plan.
I'm still deliberating on whether or not we ask for compensation to seem less suspicious doing it for free, or to appeal to virtue saying we do it out of the goodness of our hearts.
I mean, so, just to be clear, we avoided getting arrested. This isn't like a trial, we're just pleading our case, right?
Yes. So we're right now we're not having issues with the law. He did me a favor, and we are able to speak with the parliament, the gathering, whatever it is they call it here,
In that case,
in order to allow us to go down.
I would definitely recommend going the money angle, just because, you know, at the very least, you know, even it seems less suspicious, but also, you know, could just work out that we just get money for nothing.
Indeed. But the only downside is if they turn us away after we ask for compensation, they're much less likely to be charitable for additional further attempts. It's
In that case, I would appeal to virtue, and
Aye, but
we're
the
coming
issue...
at this from a position of disadvantage. If we appeal to virtue, then we can negotiate something afterward.
Aye, but if we appeal to virtue and the problem with appealing to virtue is we specifically say that we do not want compensation. But the problem with that is that comes off as suspicious. What do we have to gain for going down there? Keep in mind, we're not convincing one person, we're convincing a parliament of people.
And
Make
we
the
are
fee low then. Just a small minor thing, you know, something to cover our days, you know, like living expenses, you know.
Well, in that case, why not mention compensation one way or the other? Let them decide,
Well, then that way,
and then react
at
to
that
them.
point, we have the problem in between. By taking neither route, we incur the suspicion of not requesting compensation without gaining the trust of it.
Could we say maybe we were tasked by a third party to, you know, get the things that we are wanting to get down there? Maybe not
That would be more
explicitly what those
suspicious.
things are, but
Party, there's issues with incurring third parties, especially into a government that is freshly formed, something that is they wouldn't want more parties interfering in their new situation.
I see your
we-
point.
They would want to know more about who we're working for, why we would do it, before they would even start to let us down there.
And we, frankly, can't give that information without, you know.
I think I am firmly in the camp of asking for living expenses. To me, that seems the most normal for an adventuring group. as well as, implying good faith.
So then we ask to cover the price of an inn room for the night. Well, several inn rooms, given how many people we have.
All right.
That way we're not asking for a reward, we're just asking for room and board while we take care of the problem.
Perhaps. I still don't think that solves the issue. It still seems to be a virtue appeal, but with the same drawbacks. But if it is what you decide, then it is what I will accept. This at this point, we are walking down a decision that I do not believe either is better than the other. I just would prefer your opinions on which you would like.
Schönhoff, what say you?
Whatever we all come to agreement on is my vote.
People seem to trust whenever, I don't know, at least in my line, trust more when people are looking for something than when they are oddly altruistic. So I would say maybe money.
I think it would be more I think the virtue would be more accepted in the Empire, where there's less open subterfuge than in the Savage Kingdoms, because we don't have designated strong state controls here. Each individual city or group has their own interests and their own... How do I say? The point being, there's not an overarching structured government that will punish or list certain misdeeds or mistrusts as there is in the Empire. There's no Delmarevs here. So, if someone were to appeal to deception and try and use virtue to get their own ends, we don't have the kind of information system here that would communicate that to other places. A criminal that would be known far and wide in the Empire would be only a locational name in the Savage Kingdoms.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but don't some places in the kingdoms at least answer to Grosh?
They do, but not in the same way as the Empire does. The king, for lack of a better word, of the Savage Kingdoms is not as... It's not...
He's not as omnipresent as the Emperor.
For many settlements in the Savage Kingdoms, whether or not he is there makes no difference.
Well, either way, we're just gonna have to roll the dice on this one.
Alright. So then, after our current deliberation, final tally, Lorik.
Minor payment for living expenses.
Rifter.
You know me, minor payment, I sure do like the option that gives us more money.
Zeus.
I think we would both say money if you would trust me voting for my brother.
I also think he would say money, but...
If it helps at all, I think he would as well.
I believe you said you abstain, correct?
Yes.
I love democracy.
Well,
What a bunch of heroes we are.
seems like we are requesting minor
expenses.
in the form of living expenses, yes.
Alright.
Well,
Should we procure supplies before going to this meeting? Do you think they would immediately send us down there? Or...
I mean, I assume that I would be the one going in, so I would go in, speak with them, plead my case, whatever it is, however format they have, I'll figure it out and try and work it to my advantage. Use our line of speaking, so to say, and approved or denied, we are going down there.
It would certainly show that we're serious about it.
Alright. Well, while you're taking care of that, and that's Rifter, did you have something?
I was just gonna say, that's probably a good point. Coming in prepared would probably make us look very serious.
Indeed. Then I should probably, as much as it's an informational give up, I think I should hand them my my weapon at the gates specifically instead of keeping it in whatever space it normally is.
Very good. Is there any
I
way
suppose
for
I
you
should
to
do the same.
Is there any way for you all to maybe have a second group watching from afar that can perhaps help out should things get hairy? Or are we not expecting anything hairy?
It's a government building, not a coliseum.
Fair
The
enough.
worst
Fair
that'll
enough.
happen is the guards will escort us out, and then issues will happen there.
I have found wherever there are shining lights, people are happy to take up arms.
Listen, as much as that might be the case, what I know of politicians is that they wish to not risk their lives at all.
Fair enough.
And those that do wish to risk their lives wish to never become a politician.
Ain't that the truth?
Well, I guess we have our headache. We shall wait it out.
You're
And,
about 20 minutes into
so-
your hour. You have more time to do preparations if you desire, and otherwise you should probably be back at the pre-described meeting point far before the hour is up, just in case.
Alright. I think it's wise to procure some supplies to verify that we have everything we need to go down there.
Right. For the meeting itself, do you believe that I should hide my insignia, or do you think I should wear it as normal? That's a stupid question. I should hide it.
I don't think we gain anything by you showing it, so... If they want to make the inferential leap themselves, then they can make it.
Fair
But
enough.
that would be an accusation that they have to point at us instead of a given.
Fair enough. I was hoping to preempt any accusations of us hiding our identities or something of the sort, but we don't get anything from me not hiding my identity.
Even then, you might be hiding that you're a Delmer. That doesn't mean that you're hiding your identity.
Fair enough.
Part of being you might be part of being Lorik Delmarev, the nominus, but again, the fact that you're showing a dragonborn face here at all is shows an intent not to hide yourself. You have every ability to use magic to disguise yourself, but you do not. So whether or not you are Delmarev is of no importance.
Fair enough.
Anyone else think we need anything?
I guess, does everyone else have a wooden weapon of some kind? Because I might need to procure one. Also,
You
Darius,
find a
can you
stick.
hold on to this? I think it's bad to keep on my person. Zeus is going to pull out the cocaine that he's going to go, you had me purchase this a few days ago, and I don't know. I mean, you wanted it, so I figured you can
It was
keep
a
it in
joke.
your little bag there.
Whatever. I don't know what the policy of this settlement is on recreational drugs, but whatever.
It was my thinking exactly. I don't want to be caught with it. I mean, you won't be caught with it because it'll be in your, bag of holding. But-
He says as he puts it into his bag and just rolls his eyes.
Thank you. But one
Sorry,
cocaine.
what did you say? I didn't catch that.
Nothing. Wait, was somebody else say something?
Oh no, I'm sure you said something there.
No. I don't think I said anything. Wooden stick. That sounds good. Can I actually? Also, Zeus is going to look around. Can he just buy like all wooden arrows, like a completely wooden arrow?
Yeah.
How much is
Absolutely.
that?
I mean, it's a semi-common thing for desert creatures. It would be very on the cheap end. How many were you looking for?
Ooh, how many could I carry? Is going to be what I can think. Do you think it would be reasonable to carry like 25? Probably.
It depends on how you're carrying it. Oh yeah, totally.
Awesome. Okay, I will purchase 25.
Okay, that'll
That's
probably
such a weird number.
that'll
Should
probably
buy-
be like
normally
3
it's
silver.
What on point of wooden arrows? That's an odd number.
Oh, it's just arrows. I feel like are bought in dozen sets, so 25 is like one more than 2 dozen, please.
All right, I'll do 24. I'll
Hey,
keep
it's
it kosher.
2 dozen plus 1 that you can already have in the bow.
I'll do a dozen and a baker's dozen.
They had a buy 2 dozen get 1 free.
Yeah, for sure.
True.
All right, you said 3 silver pieces.
Yeah.
Pog.
3 silver
Alright,
pisses.
marked off.
If no one has any other preparations, we will move forward.
I am going to buy 1 potato.
There is in fact a vegetable seller that has been there for a very long time.
So true.
You don't need any more drugs. You just need you have the cocaine.
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 Cocaine moment.
That's nasty.
Behold the vegetable seller. They are very big. They are as big as the city.
So true.
Yo.
Me when I was big as the city.
As you make your way back inside and wait at the allotted point, out eventually arrives one of the senators who eagerly moves over to you and begins addressing mostly Darius, but giving all of you the quick brief. After telling you that all of you have to be up in the center of the room and handing Darius a small piece of colored wooden plank, he asks, how do you want to be introduced and who do you want to go by?
Out of character, who do you want to go by as in...
Like, what do you want to be introduced as? Like, this is the adventurers from afar here to solve the problem. Like, well, what do you want your opening statements to be?
What about
Fuck.
the Vitrion Trading Company then?
You bastard, JC. You're forcing us to come up with a fucking adventuring group name.
Let's go! The Dungeon Delvers, baby!
God.
I do
it's
quite
not
like
exactly-
"aw fuck." I do believe there's a certain ring to it.
I mean, my suggestion isn't exactly. It may raise some questions, but it is.
He rolls his eyes for the moment, whispers something under his breath, amateurs, and moves away for a bit, and he's running into another room.
This is... What... I mean, we could... I just feel like that doesn't present well to our case. Being a trading company. Solving an issue of this kind of situation.
There's an acronym we can make out of our name. You all have not thought about a group name before?
I
It's
have.
never
It's
something
been
that's
irrelevant.
I have.
And Dungeon Delvers was your answer.
Oh no, that's Evan's suggestion. In character.
Oh, got you.
In character,
Alright.
Richter goes, no, I think that right now we should be called the Tyrant Slayers. I mean, that's kind of a thing, isn't it?
I do-
That's a little on the nose.
That's-
But it would also maybe get us some favors. You know, they hate tyrants
On
here.
the nose, but it ain't exactly not public knowledge of what we do.
It's not public knowledge. It's public knowledge in the Empire.
Well, yeah, but all I'm saying is, if they don't view themselves as tyrants, they got nothing to worry about.
That's true.
They may see it, even if they don't see themselves as tyrants, they may see it as a threat.
Ugh.
What about?
Well, maybe we just say, well, of course not you guys. You guys seem cool. You know?
That is one of the worst ideas I've ever heard.
What
No,
was
no,
it,
it's very
Strunhoff?
cool.
What about Vitrio Trading and Mercantile Incorporated?
Hmm. Vitrion, Mercantile, and Mercenary. How's
That
that?
works.
Sounds better. It's partially your
Aye.
company name, after all.
I mean, I could always branch out to Mercenary.
And at the very least, it works for now.
For now, yes.
There's nothing saying that we have to be stuck with this name forever.
His
Yeah, sure.
glassy ball of his eye begins to glaze over slightly as he attempts to standardize that realization.
Alright, that is then what he would present.
All right. They get back after
Rifter.
another minute, bringing along a few extra papers. Gives a few
I-
statements to the rest of you saying, unless you're him, don't speak up unless you're asked. If you need to, and he faces Darius for this part, hand them the plank if you need to, if it's something that they're of critical importance to be able to speak about.
Understood.
Rifter, I say later, you, me, and Dyer sit down.
Josh.
We come up with 50
like-
names.
He doesn't even
True,
look.
true.
Just finger up. Just shush.
I'm getting it out now, alright?
Ah, fine.
He's walking you through some parts of the once palace to one of these side rooms. He positions you in front of the doors. In about 12 minutes, when you're called, walk through. There will be a podium in the center. Go there, turn around, face the rest of us. And they leave.
Well, we stand before the gates of democracy.
Well then.
You hear the group. Yeah, one of the other groups gets called forward and kind of moves in through like one of the doors nearby you. And you get the sense that things have not gone very well, as there's quite a bit of yelling back and forth. There's a little bit of there's a fair bit of conflict going on. They're not doing a very good job of presenting their case, especially since there are two people who are very, very outspoken critics going about the entire thing in a very judgmental and harsh light for their request, which eventually gets denied.
Unlucky.
I'm happy we're not them.
Well, don't be so glad yet. We'll have to see the initial impression and work from there.
So,
Fine, you're great at talking.
give me the rundown one more time of your name, since I have forgotten most of it.
Vitrion, Mercantile, and Mercenary.
Okay. You hear as someone very similar to how the previous group was called, using a voice amplification spell, calls out to the General Assembly, and also of consequence you being on the other side of the door, Vitrion, Mercantile, and Mercenary here to present the case of the eradication of the Undercity infestation.
And he nods and steps through. He nods to the group and steps through.
Lord follows.
as you make your way through and start to size up the crowd. It's a little bit smaller than you might have expected given the volume of the debate from the previous thing. It's only a group of about 20 or so individuals separated into a few different aisles. As you approach the podium, you notice that many of them do still have weapons on them. A few of them seem to, rather than having weapons, have casting equipment. But either way, it's not like they're particularly unarmed as one might have expected.
Before Zeus follows the group still closely, Zeus is going to make his face look just slightly off to make it feel like that. If anybody would recognize him, they'd be like, "That's not the guy." He
very,
looks a little
very
different.
reasonable, of course, of course.
All right. As he reaches the podium holding the chip, Darius is going to make his way up. And is there any additional announcement or speaking, or is it pretty clear that I am good to go? Just from the social sense of the room?
There's a little bit of conversation still going off on the side, which dies down over the course of about 12 or so seconds, at which point you feel like it would be appropriate.
All right. Now time for me to get in Darius' brain so that I don't fuck this up verbally.
It's okay. I'm starting the tracker. We're gonna go up and down, and then there's the big roll at the end to see how it goes.
So true. We are here today to solve an issue that I'm sure many of you are aware of. Underneath this building, and spread out throughout the underneath of the southeast, it is southeast, right? We're in the southwest or southeast, I don't remember which quadrant.
Right now you're in the center.
Oh, okay. Spread out underneath Chibalo. Fuck, I lost where I was in the middle of that sentence.
It's okay, we can redo a redo. Darius has had a few hours to practice, you have not.
We are here to solve the issue that I'm sure you are all aware of, plaguing the underneath of this building and many other parts of Chibalo. We have equipment available and ready for dealing with situations similar to this, and hope to prevent another issue similar to, if you are aware of, the tomb in the Eastern Empire. He would have said the tomb of, I think it's Gerard Martivir. I have no idea.
That's funny.
I don't remember the name, dude.
No, Gerard Martivir.
That's not right. I don't know what that is.
Lorik, would you like to tell him?
I would tell him.
Jorah Highstone.
Jorah Highstone. Thank you.
Gerard Martivir is
The fort, right?
Yeah, it's the Delmarev's home.
That's why it's so funny.
That's hilarious.
The tomb of the Delmarev. Yeah. Okay, keep going.
Left unattended, in that same location, chaos spewed out across. We wish to avoid we wish to avoid an event like this happening here. All we ask is for enough compensation for our stay here. We will go underneath, deal with the problem, and by your own verification, remove all issues underneath the city.
It now breaks down into a few instances of people in nearby aisles talking to each other, coming to a consensus, and in those aisles, one individual steps forth, leading in a total of 4 people being at the forefront. The first one to propose their concern to you, the one furthermost on the right from where you view, is a rather elderly elephant man. God, what? Loxodon, thank you.
Loxodon.
A rather elderly Loxodon. What qualifications might you have for taking care of this? We've sent some of our finest in there, and they've simply replicated and defeated them all the same. And even more so, what problems what solutions would be had over simply trapping it there and leaving it forever?
As you've seen, by your own admission, anyone you send down there is unable to succeed because it replicates. Even if you leave it down there, it will continue to replicate. It will become more and more of a problem until it overtakes the entirety of Chibalo.
And as it grows, and it seems to only grow and duplicate as we fail to do so. The more we send down, the more it grows. We've checked on it. It doesn't grow anymore. It doesn't get out of hand unless we poke it. The more we intervene, the closer we get to it simply being able to breach and break through.
And so you would let this sit under your city? You would let this fester? Even if it does not change now, you cannot truly believe that nothing will happen down there eventually. People explore. Things happen. You cannot keep this underhand out of the eyes of your people forever. How do you think they would feel if they knew something like that was growing underneath? We offer a solution to rid you of it entirely. If a cancer is growing, do you not remove it? If it does nothing, do you let it be?
One of the individuals in the third aisle, that's the second from the left, a tiefling, somewhat purple in nature, steps forward. The Alchemist Guild has already begun tests to attempt to find ways to completely dissolve the creatures, and while they may not have found success yet, there's no reason to believe that they'd be unfit for this task compared to the thousands they've conquered before. What might we need to... Why would we need to rush this schedule?
I just need Garrett time to think about this.
Yeah, I mean, I get allowed to rewind, all the same.
Who's Garrett?
Is this an open conference? Because Rifter does have something to add if I'm allowed to talk.
You would have to gain Darius's attention.
Okay. You know what? Then never mind. I'm not gonna rule.
You're getting the
Rifter's
idea
not gonna
that it's
jam
very
his
much
style.
the continued, essentially just tightening of voices, where many voices pick one person, and then of those few people, it continues to get refined and refined and refined. And so in a similar way, Darius is currently speaking as the voice of the group. And if that were to change, it would need to be signified that you are actually speaking as the voice of the group temporarily, as opposed to just a disunity of it if you were to interrupt.
It's all fine.
As
Then
has-
Rifter's gonna leave this to Talkie Snake Man.
Having dealt with this issue before, it is not of this plane, and it is relatively resistant to magical means. So while your Alchemist Guild might have the ability to potentially eventually solve this issue, the fact that it has resistance to magic will significantly slow down its progress. Are you willing to wait enough time to test the waters?
The better question to me seems, are we willing to worsen it for a chance to solve it?
If I might, we have tools explicitly designed to deal with them efficiently, quickly, and our own personal magics, once they are dealt with, can cleanse them entirely.
The one in the third sits back down for a moment. The second steps forward and stands up. We have no objections to the current investigation of it, provided that you at least give us a preliminary look at these weapons that you intend to bring down. In the event that you fail and what you say is true, we would hope you do not object to others attempting to do the same, should your results be promising.
Indeed, we will show you the weapons. However, the source of these weapons is not something we are aware of their construction method. I'm unsure of whether or not you could replicate them. We are more than willing to let you see them.
He says something along the lines to a few of his group members before proclaiming that the second arm has its support at this time. None of the others have weighed in yet. They're currently discussing among their members. You have a little bit of time. Parentheses, discuss amongst each other.
We can discuss. Yeah, okay. Darius is going to turn. Is there anything any of you would like to add while they're currently deliberating?
Should we disclose that we have experience with this before?
I was
Yes.
going to say that we have cleansed similar infestations in other places.
I believe I fronted that we have experience with it before, but I will make sure to.
I don't recall hearing that here, but it
Alright,
is worth
I will-
reiterating even if it has been mentioned.
I will make sure to reiterate that we have done so in other places as well.
If Rifter did want to potentially have something to bring up, now would be a good time to talk about it.
No, he basically got my point. It was going to be that we have specifically dealt with these creatures before.
One more thing, that we have methods of tracking them.
True.
We have tested methods, we can find them wherever they are. And honestly, that might even be the most promising bit, that we can find them to eradicate every last possible trace of the infestation.
Mm-hmm. That's true. Because of the nature of them, if not every bit is destroyed, then it returns. The ability for us to have the ability to fully track every bit of it will make a large difference.
Right.
As the assembly begins to, well, reassemble itself a little bit, you're able to notice a little bit more why they're calling themselves what they are. Of the 4 different alleyways, there's 2 of them around each pair of circles, and that they're generally like the 2 grasping reaches of each of the twin moons in the sky, which is where they're drawing their symbolism from. After
I see.
which, the 4th arm, the one on the far left, speaks up. The 4th arm would like to question the motives of these adventurers. First, what was your purpose coming to the city?
For this very purpose, to cleanse this infestation. We've dealt with it before, we know what will happen should it happen again, and we wish to not let it.
And how did you go about hearing about this? It may not be a tightly kept secret, but the nature of the quarantine has been attempted to be hidden.
We have incredibly precise methods of tracking these creatures.
There's a general grumbling of, like, acceptance and being like, well, I guess that makes sense.
Got him!
Oh,
If I might add, it also makes it much more efficient to destroy them. You understand that if not all of it is destroyed, it will come back.
Oh, we're very well aware of that. My deliberation is that I find it very difficult to believe that Yuan Ti would go around doing things for the good of its heart, yet alone attempting to preach such virtue amongst in the public.
Do not misunderstand. Although I speak for the betterment of our group, I am not the one who holds these virtues. That would be the ones behind me.
Which one do you consider the heart of your party, then?
He looks back. He's gonna look at Lorik with like, "Are you okay with this?" eyes.
Lork nods.
Lorik, as he hands the chip to him.
They just simply say, I repeat the question.
I have seen the destruction that these creatures can bring. I have seen the consequences of their presence, and I want nothing more than to prevent that from happening to anywhere else. Of all the horrors I've seen in my time, they are some of the worst, and I would subject nobody else to them.
Are you attempting to embellish that at all? Give descriptors of some of the horrors, or are you simply keeping it to the imagination?
He would keep it to the imagination unless they specifically ask.
Okay.
Do they ask?
They do not.
Okay.
And what drives you with such a vigor to attempt to do so?
This time that I, as a person, need to think this over, because
Yo, don't need to make any call outs for that. Like,
Yeah.
that's just presumed. It's a complicated situation.
Put the gun to the realm. Put the gun to the realm. Just tell him so you can get bitches. There you go.
Oh, of course. Well,
The
True.
first
why
arm
did you
just,
start with that?
the first arm representative just slams their hand on the table. They have our support.
For the bitches.
You've certainly gained a reputation with the Comedians Guild. Oh,
After a bit of thought and remembrance, Lork responds, I have very nearly lost people that I care deeply about to these creatures, only saving them by means of narrow escape. Now that me and my companions have acquired the means to effectively fight these creatures and eradicate them, I would make it so that nobody else has to lose people they care about.
the fourth arm speaks amongst itself for a bit, and then they begin to cast a spell on you. You have the choice to attempt to resist it.
Lork does not do so.
Alright. After a few
He's pretty
seconds,
confident he knows what spell it is.
After a few seconds, they simply sit back down and announce their support to it. It's up to one of the other two to actually decide to support it or not, of which neither of them are currently convinced. The first, which doubts your capability and believes it would simply make it worse. And the third, which believes that they'll be able to solve the problem anyway. And that it's currently not worth the risk.
Regarding grievances of the first.
Lork quickly hands the chip back
Oh
to
yeah,
you.
yes. My brain is broken.
So Darius just
Darius
punts
nudges-
Lorik in the elbow.
Darius nudges them slightly.
Right.
Yeah.
The chip.
Regarding the
Lork,
grievances of the first arm, we would be more than willing to show a demonstration of the efficacy of our weapons and of our tactics.
The first struggles to determine a situation where one might be able to properly engage against tactics against them without inherent risk to observers involved.
Regarding the weapons, have we seen them activate on things that weren't the flesh?
No.
Okay. Do we know if they could be from the
You
field of
have
the weapon?
not
if they
used
could be
them.
demonstrated?
You have
Okay.
not used them against anything that is not the flesh, and even more so, their concern would not is in the specific way that they're phrasing it, that they, in order to see it actually work against it, that would intrinsically mean having other people down there, unless they were to bring it up, which is out of the question.
Hey, I'm gonna be right back. One moment. I use the bathroom.
Let's see. How of what I know of magic, so the tiers of magic is a system in the game, in like the universe
Like
itself,
spell
correct?
levels?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
The only thing that's kind of different from like core D&D when it comes to that is that even divine casting is still considered arcane magic, but there is divine magic, which is still like plays by different rules. So you could not counter spell actual divine magic, even if you could counter paladin spell.
And how widespread is the higher tier, like 7, 8, 9?
Not common.
All right. Then Darius is going to say, perhaps this then. Our mage here, Sternhoff, is able to cast 9th tier magic.
There's a fair bit of murmuring going about.
And we have martial capabilities similar.
The third asks you if there's any way for you to demonstrate it in the current capacity, in the current situation.
He's going to look at Sternhoff.
I give a nod.
Yes.
Then do so.
All right. He's going to, not only is he going to look at Sternhoff, he's going to hand him the chip just in case he needs to incant for it, or whatever he needs.
So to clarify, am I demonstrating my 9th tier, or am I demonstrating
Yes.
how I could? Okay.
I mean, however you can show that you can cast 9th tier, whether or not it ends up consuming the slot or whatever shows. Whatever ends up working.
What are your 9th level spells right now?
Storm of Vengeance.
Uh-oh.
I like this plan.
Could I just do a backflip?
It's pretty comparable.
So knowing that that's your thing, when they ask,
Would you
is
have
there
said
a
that
way
you
for you
could?
to demonstrate it right now without endangering the people nearby? Would the answer be you could provide it elsewhere?
Yes.
Okay.
Cautiously, yes.
I mean, you could also just like cast it very far away, like off on the sky.
I could, but would they all be able to see that at once?
Some of them are old. After a quick exiting of the building and down to the streets and outside, go ahead and cast it.
Okay, so I need. So let's see. I need a 360-foot radius where I'll not hit anyone. So I'm gonna cast it like
You can cast it in the sky, keep in mind.
I could. You're right.
Yeah, because
it
unless
have
I'm
to be
wrong, it's
more
as
than
far as you can
5,000
see,
feet up?
right? I mean, it's as
It
far
is
as you
as
can
far
see.
as I can see, but the clouds
Yeah.
can't be more than 5,000 feet off the ground. So I'll cast it far away enough to where they can very clearly see that it is because of me, but far away enough so that it will not hurt people.
Go ahead and click the button. Yeah. As you begin to chant the magic, at first they're clearly skeptical of the situation, and as some of the water from the nearby cacti and plant begin to congeal themselves out from it and begin to form spirals into the sky, and the tornadoes start to reach into it, they're starting to get a grasp of just the absolute sheer power that abound. And after a very, very brief demonstration of it, they're pretty on board with it. I would like you
It's
to
a
give me a
humble
flat.
bow.
I would like you to give me a flat d20 with advantage. You've made all of your points. You've satisfied the questions. It's time to see what their results are.
I'm re-rolling that.
Well,
You have advantage.
I did roll with advantage, even though it didn't show up.
No, did you? It says rolling
it
d20.
says 1. Yeah.
Well, I checked the advantage box on my sheet, and it didn't.
well,
Well, it doesn't
that
count.
doesn't do that
Yeah,
for rolls.
that's for checks. That's not just for rolling a single d20.
So what do I?
Oh, you roll
Just
one
make
more
it
d20.
20 again.
Okay.
Fuck.
Can I re-roll that one?
You can. Alright.
Fake it till
Better,
you make it.
better, superior.
The first still votes against it. However, the third eventually moves into favor for it.
So wait, the first, which thinks that we're not capable after seeing ninth tier magic.
No. That was the third. The first
Oh,
is the
okay.
one who believes that simply, even if you're able to do stuff down there, like this just makes them more assured that you shouldn't, because you showed, hey, we're gonna blow shit up. Their concern is that by going down there, you're just going to cause things to get worse by causing there to be more of it. But nonetheless, they are outvoted by the other three. And you are promptly given 5 gold in expenses to handle the problem and led immediately to the down hatch, where they are currently beginning to cast a few magical spells to unblock the passages.
All right then.
It went rather well.
The moment
will
it's
be right
just
back.
you
I
and
have some
2
stuff
of the enchanting mages.
I'm surprised at how well that went.
You know what? Yeah, let's all get some water then.
Ah, yeah.
Oh, law.
I just got back from getting water.
Intermission.
Mission.
We are all here. Then it seems like it would be a good time to go ahead and continue. The mages are
Let's actually
currently
do that.
casting a specific kind of dispelling magic to break some of the locks upon the entrance. The physical ones have already been released, but the magical ones remain. You have some time.
Did they still want to actually see the weapons, or have they already done that?
They have already done so because I did not believe you had
Okay.
contest with it.
Okay.
We said yep.
Yeah, they.
Okay.
You said yep, so I just assumed it happened.
I wasn't sure if there were any particular reactions to some of the weapons.
Do we want to? Oh, sorry.
GDQ watching React YouTube.
Like, it's literally wood? Fuck? I don't know.
It's like, yeah, like they're like, yeah, no wonder the alchemist didn't do it.
Well,
Should we go in there with a certain kind of strategy in place for like, any sort of, I guess, combo attacks? I think Dia usually calls them, but strategy.
Hit them at the
We
same
happen-
time.
we don't know what kind of creatures are down there beyond the obvious, so we can't really effectively strategize about what is down there. All we can do is have.
We happen to have a map of the area still.
I don't believe we ever had a map of the area.
I mean,
Aye.
well, you don't have a map. It's a fairly simple layout because it's not too big of an area.
Yeah.
It's rather shrimple, really.
It is
But
rather simple.
Either way, if it is continued into or escalated into one of the larger creatures, similar to the one that Dia brought in, no offense, then we will have to be on our guard, focusing on dealing with it as quickly as possible, approaching it in rounds, similar to its magical protection waning and beginning. The smaller ones should fall to 1 or 2 hits. They're not largely very strong. But most importantly, what we need to do is we need to, you particularly, Zeus, and me, need to keep our eyes out to make sure none of the residue gets away.
All right.
Here you go. This is the map of it from when you were last there. It's lucky me because I made this as a new page, so I get to just open up the old one and just copy it over. Ain't that nice?
I don't pull you away.
Ah, yeah. Orc wouldn't be nearly as familiar with this.
Nope. He been there once. He went in on the bottom, and then moved a little bit and then left.
Yeah. As opposed to the rest of the team, which has a much more prolonged and personal experience with this place.
Fuck this place.
Yeah.
And unless at this point it is now currently unlocked, the physical restraints are ready to be unleashed as soon as you give the go-ahead to head down.
Player question.
Hi.
Just so I make sure I'm understanding this correctly. These monsters, the only known weakness of the party to them is like the wooden weapons, and magic does not work against them.
Magic, quote unquote, works.
Okay,
They have heavy resistance to it.
gotcha.
Heavy.
The,
In the sense that
in the sense of its immunity to like 2 out of 3 or 3 out of 4 or 4 out of 5 attacks.
yeah, it will go down, be vulnerable to a magical attack, and then no longer be vulnerable.
Okay, so it like goes in like waves of it.
Yeah,
Right.
think of it as it has layers of armor that you strip away with every magic hit, and then once one round is passed with the armor gone, it relayers.
Got you. Okay, so Soul Blade isn't completely useless. It's just gotta whittle it down first.
Actually, Soul Blade is incredibly useful because it allows us to use low value hits to to break through it, so
Actually,
that big value hits.
it's very valuable because it's psionic and not
Yeah, it is
magic.
explicitly not magic.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, big pause.
No, I mean in the system, in the text of it, it technically is magic,
Yeah,
but
but there's a psionic subclass.
Yeah.
It is
And-
literally the same source of stuff.
Yeah.
it's dumb because according to the rules of Mr. Jeremy Godford,
Actually,
it is, but it shouldn't be.
Gotcha.
I mean, remember,
I just wanna make
AH,
sure.
psionic is its own thing. It's just
wanna
like
make sure
its
I wasn't
own thing, man.
It's just like it's doing its own thing. All right, question answered. I appreciate it.
As you begin to Metal Gear Solid Kojima your way down this ladder, it's a lot longer than you remember, and that's really annoying.
What a thrill.
Thrill
I
in darkness.
love you, Bestie.
After about a minute
Yes.
and a half, you begin to make your way to the bottom of the ladder. Slorik has
Yeah.
a bit of a hard time and slips down like the last quarter of the ladder and plumps on the ground fairly harmlessly. Some might call it speedrun strats.
Do slimes take fall damage?
Lessons.
Flat.
You know those things that those toys that are just the goop balls where you splat them against the ground and then they come back together?
Yeah.
Have you ever chucked a handful of Jello at the ground as hard as you can?
What?
Have you ever chucked a handful of Jello as hard as you can at the ground?
Come on, everyone's done that.
I think this would be a
Did that
good
with a
community
human
builder.
brain before.
Anyway, the party has made it down here. The torches are currently unignited, and the only path forward is the back of a wooden bookcase, along with a lever.
I'm going to ignite some bitches. I'm going to use bonfire in a area that isn't going to catch a person on fire.
Damn, literally just not gonna pull the lever. Okay.
No, I won't. I'll pull the lever once I can see the lever.
The lever's right there.
Yeah,
Can't see anything.
go up. You have Uno.
You have
I can't
Uno.
see anything.
I am going to pull out my staff and kind of just like tap it with my hand to cast light on it.
Okay,
you
there we
at-
go. Now I can see.
I didn't
How-
do anything.
What the fuck? It literally just appeared. Like I was looking in the top right, like what are you talking about? And it just appeared.
What?
Wait, what happened was that was when somebody moved, so maybe it just didn't update for you.
Weird.
Lol. Roll 20 moment.
Roll 20
Yeah,
moment.
roll 20
Oh,
moment, yeah.
true, bestie.
So true. Wow.
OMG, he's literally me. For real.
Be when I pull the lever.
Him
Bop
when he pulled the lever,
Pull it.
you hear the as the back of the bookshelf moves out of the way.
That is so true. Oh well, there is one of the fuckers that was killed. Whether or not we did it, I can't see. Oh right. I don't have light source on me.
Right, you
Lol.
just have amplified light vision, not light emanating from you.
All right. Is this an actual corpse?
Yes.
All right. Well, let's start. I'm going to hold on this way. Somebody who doesn't mind getting a little warm, get on the other side of it, please. And Lorik, you stay. Yes. Okay, then. Another stay, and he's going to point over there. Here, we're just trying to make sure nothing gets anywhere, as he is going to purge the shit out of this with fire.
As you begin to do so, it seems like it's going quite fine, and then a little bit of it begins to, as it begins to bubble off, it begins to splatter off onto one of the edges a little bit towards, like, mostly towards Schoenhof, basically directly in the direction of Rifter, but, like, mostly just to the distance of Schoenhof. And as it bubbles, it like, sort of pops further and further away from the fire.
Strunhoff, can you use your whatever type of electricity you can use without consuming energy to just anything that gets out of the fire, just make sure it's seared and completely gone.
Yep. Against my better judgment, I'm not going to grab it. I'm going to use
Yeah.
my staff and use shock and grasp on the staff to sort of
Yep.
like use it as a lightning rod to prod it.
And it connects straight through it, straight into the ground, and it pops a few more times, but it stays in place. No longer popping around as it boils off.
All we have to do is continue, make sure nothing is left. Zeus, I need your eyes. I know that I can see it here as well, but in case I miss anything.
I also need my eyes and currently cannot see. So give me one moment.
This way, he's just gonna ba.
You can
Uh,
see, right?
I can actually not see.
Upright.
Kring.
Yeah, I'm seeing I see like the health bars, but I don't.
I'm
see,
gonna
like,
move
the
you
map.
once. Did that do anything? Your token
No.
has vision.
I can give a screen cap, but I could. Oh, okay. Now I can see.
I'm gonna.
Is it just proximity to Lork that lets people see or something like that?
Lork, the light bringer.
I'm gonna ask. What's his face?
Dyer says something about having bad memories going down here. You guys can handle it.
I'm gonna ask Dyer for his balls. His earrings.
Yeah.
Hi, might I
Touch
have your
them with
balls?
light and hand them out.
Alright. Everybody's gonna get some.
Everyone's getting some Dyer's balls.
Dyer's shining balls.
But yes, Zeus will be up on looking around, making sure to catch everything he can. Passive perception 20.
Of course,
Active
of course.
perception, we'll try.
Active perception, probably at least like 3.
Shit,
Probably
at least
like a number.
4?
A number is likely.
One of the numbers of all time.
This is one of the eyeballs of all time.
There you go. The ball bearings have been distributed. In front of you is a heavy door which swings towards you.
Looking around the room just before we exit it, are there any glowies like what I see when I see other sources of the flesh?
Nope.
Okay.
Which definitely takes you off guard.
Other than Zeus, obviously.
Well,
Oh, Zeus, I think
except
you've got
Shunhoff.
something on you as he reaches out.
Literally everybody except Shunhoff.
Yeah, true. True,
And I
true.
guess Sloric, but...
I am going to ask that everyone fully check their bodies, other than Strunhoff. Before we leave here, we are not going to risk bringing something out.
I don't know. Should we check before we leave?
Yes, before we leave, once everything's done.
I'm just happy Dyer isn't here to say how everyone has goop in.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
That's fair. I mean, we do have goop, though.
We do. But
Don't you start saying it now,
what a
Darius.
crude way.
It's not wrong, is the problem.
It's not, but do we really...
I don't need to legitimize it. You're right.
Get this door open.
We start pushing the pull door.
It remains closed.
Lork adds his strength to pushing the pull.
If all of you are pushing on the pull door, go ahead and give me a strength roll, each of the three of you. You could even make it an athletics if you wanted.
I don't actually want to do it. I'm gonna do it the normal way.
Man, Lorik's not gonna break down the door. Alright, well, the two of them are trying, and you watch as they very much fail to push the heavy iron metal door.
See, I only rolled a 15. I got Darius luck, okay.
A 5 is not even that much. Anyway, the door that is very much designed to be pulled remains unpushed.
They really
fine.
outsmarted us here.
As Darius rolls his eyes and pulls the door.
Frankly, I was just doing it to humor Zeus.
I just thought it would be funny. Oh!
All right.
Oh, what the hell?
Gods above, there's more of them.
Oh my god, no way, yeah.
Jarvis, do those things show up as that?
Are they?
No, they do not.
Nope, not at all. Although I do think it would be probably safe to, if we are able to fully purge them, considering their replicatory effect.
Furthers the growth of it even quicker.
You know what? They might not have known about the flesh. This might be what they're talking about with it continuing to replicate.
You know, that would make too much sense.
Because this is the only entrance they have, they wouldn't have seen any other sources of the flesh. They wouldn't know. I was wondering why they said it doesn't grow unless it's provoked, because that's not true.
Yeah.
But those definitely do only grow once provoked.
From the description, I assumed they were referring to this, but yeah, we definitely need to deal with the source of the problem.
Should we, do these little creatures, maybe we put some food down in the middle, and then somebody throws some big area of effect spell on them?
Well, actually, that might not be a bad idea. I don't want to use my most powerful magic necessarily, but I can euthanize a lot of them.
We don't know if that would work. We don't know.
Well, I would not be inflicting physical trauma, so...
The one in front of
It
you
shouldn't
walks
cause it.
into the wall nearby, bonks its head, and falls over.
These things are evil. I've never seen anything try and act so cute before.
It's unnerving, isn't it?
Never trust something that looks cute.
The way they contained them earlier is they had one thing holding their attention. I don't know
Something they feared.
how they got it into a bottle, if you recall.
Hmm.
I thought it was something that was on a hook in one of the other rooms or something of the sort.
Yes.
But that does bring the question, if you'll allow me to. I may be able to evoke an effect that makes them think that that thing is there.
As long as you're not risking them all splatting into the wall.
It shouldn't, hopefully. Orc is gonna move here to try and get line of sight on as many of them as possible. And he's gonna use his channel divinity for conquering presence. To try and evoke an image of that which they fear.
Do you have to be able to see a target to make it a target of your choice? Or does just, like... or are you able to generally say, just not these people?
That I can see. Each creature of your choice that you can see within 30 feet of you can make a wisdom saving throw.
Gotcha.
So I can see out to like here. So I can
the
see these
whole
four.
condition of them shitting themselves that they, when startled,
They do that one startled, but Lork is trying to do it in a way that it evokes that thing that was on the wall that they didn't want to go past because they were
1,
afraid
2,
of it.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
There's 9 that I can see.
9.
So I can also see this one.
Okay, yeah, technically there's the one there. What's your save?
Save DC is 19.
Alright. This one pops and explodes. Pops and explodes. Pops and explodes.
This is...
Pops and explodes.
Lorik, I'm pretty sure they didn't fear it, they were just entranced by it.
Pops and explodes,
They
and
had
that is all
something
of
in
it.
front of their eyes.
They seemed to fear it when we were there last time. They, well, at least in Korheim, they very explicitly moved away from it. They were... house.
Well, this matter is. It can't be that different from many other things. There's got to be a way for us to fully destroy it. And it's clearly only when they're startled. Darius is going to stay still when they approach him. I don't... As you saw, as he's going to soften his voice and not make sudden movements but still continue, when it touched the wall, it fell over. It wasn't frightened, it wasn't startled. It didn't explode, nothing happened. It just hit the wall, it fell over.
It just walks underneath you and just in between your legs currently.
I don't think
Well-
we have anything to fear as long as we don't startle them.
Darius,
Unless
you
it's
are a
obvious.
noble sacrifice.
There's gotta be a way to contain them.
Well, my thought had been to try and euthanize them in a way that wouldn't inflict physical trauma via a cloud kill spell, but
Well, so far, what we can see, what we can tell, is that when they... Darius is going to grab the door and slowly push it closed, so that there's only one in here with us, so that more don't, like, wander out.
As you gently close it, you also hear a donk as one of them bumps into it and falls over.
So,
what
we
do
have
you
one
want
arc.
these things anyway?
I don't know. Do you have any way of telling what type of creature they are?
I guess I can try to see if they're one of a few specific things. Lork can try Divine Sense. Just,
Let's see. Nope.
okay. Well, I can tell you it's not undead, it's not a demon, it's not an angel or anything of the sort, although I think we already knew that.
I mean, is it racist for me to say it looks fey?
It might be, but I don't know if you can understand what we're saying, so it might be okay.
You're fey.
Huh?
You're a changeling, right?
Look, let's not get into
I
specifics. Alright.
Didn't actually know that changelings were fey.
Does Zeus...
It perks up momentarily, and instead of moving without any of its real direction that it had earlier, it just sort of moves not quickly by any means, like it would be one tile per turn movement, but it's more than the very slow aimless wandering, and just goes here and just stands there.
Is it looking at anything in particular there?
Looking would be a strong word to associate it doing anything. Its eyes
Is
never
it
move.
facing in any particular direction?
It's just facing forward, the direction that it walked there.
If I have Sloric approach it,
You can.
I'll have him approach
It's-
it.
It gently, part of it, the legs is just kind of halfway towards Thoric.
Can I have Sloric slowly encircle it?
You can.
Me begang.
As Sloric moves onto it, it simply gets absorbed by Sloric. It is currently inside him.
Okay.
Bored.
Do you think he could absorb? He could dissolve
We're
it?
about to find out.
This sounds like it could go catastrophically wrong.
It could go, but we're not going to get anywhere without experimentation, without trying things.
Fair enough.
After a few minutes, it
Catastrophically
begins to
wrong
break
or-
down...
uh, After. After about 8, it begins to break down.
After about 8, it is dissolved.
Okay.
After about 8, it is dissolved.
Okay.
After about 8, it is dissolved.
Well, this is going to take a while, but we have a solution.
I suppose we do.
I'm gonna walk up and telepathically ask how he feels.
Do we, when we go back up to report us finishing our business, do we inform them of
We
the
should.
fact that this time I think that we don't.
As long as
not-
they see as the problem dealt with, then they shouldn't.
How many
know.
do you think Slork could fit? Slork could fit over at once? 2, 3, maybe.
Let's not
We have
push it
to-
just yet.
We
Aye,
have
let's-
to move slowly for sure, but with the way they're packed in there, Slork can slowly move in and absorb whatever's there. We should make sure that they're only fully engulfed ones, though.
Right. I just don't want to potentially risk floor crushing by getting multiples and then
You know,
ending up with more of them.
it seems like a good time. Out of character, JC.
Mm-hmm.
Can I do the ritual to make him 9th level?
Sure.
Okay.
Little guy is big now.
Large.
Mega thick.
Mega.
Thick boy.
Big.
Slorthic.
He's now the full size of 3 tiles.
He thick. What a thick boy.
Big guy.
Actually, if I'm being honest, he's probably the full size of 5 tiles now.
We must make him bigger.
He is our Roomba.
Okay, so he has
God, did your audio just die during that?
19 AC.
Chad, your audio died when you were talking about Slork being a Roomba.
The problem arises in that as you continue your plan, Slork goes in and devours one of them, another one's just fine, and halfway through devouring the third, Slork is starting to turn quite red, and by the time it's dissolved, Slork is mostly red at this point.
Okay, hold on. After he dissolved the first one, I tried to ask him if he felt okay.
Yeah, and he said it was, sorry, that part maybe didn't go through. It's a little gross.
Hmm.
Like, it
Okay.
tasted bad, sort of. It was gross.
Okay.
But that's also not a very... That hasn't stopped Stork before. Stork has eaten many things that he then said it tasted bad.
Well,
So true!
I still would be inclined to say that euthanizing them with a cloud kill would be the most efficient solution for this.
But we don't know what happens when they're dead. They might automatically explode when they're dead. We can't afford a large, wide-range effect, because if it goes wrong, without us verifying that it works in the first place, we have made it incredibly worse.
Well, do we have something else that can poison them? On a smaller scale?
What if we give them? This is going to sound crazy. What if we give them the cocaine?
I'm
Oh,
not
no.
willing to.
Sounds terrible.
If we can bring one out,
They don't have mouths.
Oh, they don't.
Oh, that's pretty good.
I know that
Those
Cloud
are
Kill affects things if they just like hold their breath, but if something doesn't need to breathe, it doesn't affect it, right?
Let me actually see.
How like 1-to-1 in
Creatures are affected even if they hold their breath or don't need to breathe.
Okay. Realistically, their size is probably about that.
Oh, so they're tiny size then.
how like 1-to-1 are they visually? Like is
Mostly.
that like do these actually look okay? So it would stand to reason that they would have pretty absorbent skin.
Yeah, they're
part mushroom.
they're soppy. There's sap flowing down from their caps onto the rest of their body. Their body, while it looks a little bit like fur, almost like a creature, it very much has some of the corrugation of being much more like an animated shroom almost. But as you've seen in other times, it's also still very much filled with blood.
Actually, Darius, do you have any ability to poison them from a longer range? I don't know if you have any innate magics that could do anything of the sort.
Well, just because I'm a UNT means I can produce poison or venom. You should really part with these basic stereotypes. It's not conducive to, you know, being a better person. Yes, I can.
Alright, Darius.
I got some basilisk and I got some necrotic. I don't know if that either of that is gonna help.
Let's not
Considering-
spend any of the expensive stuff.
Considering the Alchemist Guild has not yet discovered something that can dissolve them, I doubt a basic poison spray would.
My thoughts exactly.
Fair enough. I was mostly attempting to figure out if a basic poison spray would cause them to panic and replicate. Because if that causes them to panic and replicate, then something like a cloud kill might well do the exact same thing.
Can Zeus make a quick perception check just looking at Darius and Rifter where the creature kind of like walked over to them just to make sure they're not like nothing is on them that is
Sure, go
hurting
ahead.
them? What a fact.
They seem
Only
clean.
thing that's funnier than 24. Clean.
Alternatively, Zeus, your blades are not physical in any way, shape, or form, right?
Yes. They don't even technically leave a mark.
To my understanding, they are just pure psychic energy, right?
Let me read my brain for a second to make sure I am saying correctly, but I believe that is true. Blades
In the
of
past,
psychic energy,
How
yes.
did I ever have I did have instances of psychic damage dealing stuff to even inanimate things, right? I think so.
Yeah.
Sorry, psionic, not psychic.
If we can get everyone to stand back, would you be willing to test a single psionic attack against one of them to see if that puts it down cleanly?
Sure, yes, of course. Let me hold on. Let me stand over here just to get me ready to make sure I can, quickly respond.
Sure enough, you should have Slork move back.
Well, give me one moment just to clear my mind.
I feel having him there as a barrier between us and them might be beneficial for now.
Yes, I just don't want them to splatter on him and potentially cause horrible harm.
Only thing I'll say right now, Golden, is that he's
Right.
probably only 8th level casted right now, because you did already use a 9th level cast demonstration, so you'll 9th level it tomorrow and have those stats.
Okay. I'll change them down then.
They're still the final stats, and you'll still have that pretty much immediately, but just today, if it comes up.
Mm-hmm.
After taking a little bit of a laugh around the room, Zeus will walk back and be like, "Oh, I think I can concentrate now."
Perhaps it would be best to strike one of the ones further back in the room so that Slork isn't at risk.
Sad.
I also want to keep an eye on Slork to see if this coloration dissipates.
Zeus will aim for, I believe you can see this one.
Yep.
He's going to spectral frame, blade, a little bit of black coming off of it. Gonna look at him and he's gonna like toss it, and then it like spirals towards the thing.
Okay. That's a hit.
Poggers in chat, boys.
It kind of enters and doesn't leave a full mark or it doesn't leave a mark, but just kind of black flame pours out for a second.
As it goes through it, the area that it just goes through just suddenly ruptures and it splits in two, and each side grows.
All right. Well, that didn't work.
So those things are resilient to psionics as well.
Not that it's resilient. I don't think it's resistant or resilient to basically anything.
I know it's not resistant, but their species is resilient to that kind of harm because they just reproduce from it.
It would be so much easier if I could just light this entire area under incredible blaze for a series of minutes, but I don't even think that'll work.
Do we know if fire does that or if it just sears it away?
I have no idea. It worked well enough to purge the blood, which is resilient itself, but I again don't know. I would have wanted to test on a single one of them before I...
Let's try and lure one out into the room then.
I'm sure if we just keep the door open, one will eventually wander.
Yeah.
Slow
Time waits, a few of them get close and bonk on it and then turn around, but eventually one wanders its way in.
Oh! Laura closes the door after that one makes it an appreciable distance out.
Okay, door
Alright.
stuck.
I would like Slork to be on standby if this does have problems. He's going to move over here slowly, make his way down.
Yummy drywall.
Dry.
I would recommend those of you that... Actually, when we're fighting, I don't really think about it, but none of you seem to be hurt by the heat I emit, do you?
Not particularly, no.
No.
Well, we'll see. If it starts getting too warm and starts to hurt, just step away. He's gonna take a couple steps back a little bit. If there's any books in here that you might want to... Actually, whatever, the books are fine. They won't be.
I've already gotten what I've needed.
Alright, he's going to basically just sit down and, similar to what he did in the prison room when he got very frustrated, when he got like angry
Yes,
when
okay.
the angel guy was pulled, he's going to basically blacken the area around him.
At first, everything seems fine from him. It's like, oh wow, what a wonderful day to be wandering around aimlessly. And then the mushroom begins to rattle a little bit. It pops up and like the body that's left behind the skin begins like tearing off it, and it begins like shredding onto the ground and consuming the ground, which then immediately like almost chain reacts as each one that it's like spawning out is like sucking up from the ground and then immediately dying.
Okay, he's stopping as he sees it start to spread. I would have expected that as the bits came off, they would be consumed, but for whatever reason, they prioritized the ground over it.
Also, Adam, I just want to throw this out there. I've gotten what I came for. I don't know if we actually want to, do the whole 9 yards here, or just say, man, that was pretty difficult down there, and we weren't
Wait,
able to actually help.
You already have what you need entirely? We've been down here for... We haven't even... What did you need?
Just the kind of some of the papers about, what they were working on down here and such. They were right here, apparently. Also, DM, would Zeus think there would be any more?
Nah. Like there
Okay.
was very specific instructions for you, and also this is where all of their instructions already were last time. Like you've been down here, this is their research notes area because it was right underneath where their main researcher was. It's very convenient that way.
Well, I'm happy I grabbed these things before you burnt up everything. But yeah,
Darius is going to take a risk. He's going to slowly walk, being very cautious, and he's going to explicitly step over one of the edge ones and see if it startles it.
It vibrates ever so slightly and then stops vibrating.
All right.
Would something that can inhibit regeneration stop them?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know if it even counts as it healing or if it's even alive. It's not. I'm not sure.
You would recall
lance
one of
does.
the times far in the past when after it detonated, it didn't immediately regenerate, but then like some of the blood that got spilled on the ground even after like a significant period of time, it then sapped the ground and formed a new thing. Or if you test it now, one of them dies and doesn't regrow, but then after like 2 minutes after you strike it, it grows. It regrows.
Well,
Just to stop for a second. The bottles that they were contained in, like when they had just some bottles of them, were those just normal glass?
It was, but that was also refined blood from them. Like that was some sort of concentrated fluid of them. Perhaps the
just had a
sap,
really good
perhaps the
bad
blood.
idea.
Yep, good idea.
Out of character, can you destroy a bag of holding?
by
Yes.
sticking another bag of holding in it, yes.
That would
So,
probably
don't
get
do
rid
it.
of them
out.
without regenerating. That is a point. That probably
So
would
hear
work.
me out, okay?
But also, yeah,
I like this.
I agree. Very good,
So
bad
hear me
idea.
out.
We
Boys,
don't
got
have
this.
enough bags of holding to
Oh,
make
yeah,
this
we do.
full.
Hold on. Are these creatures native to our plane? Do you think they would
Banishment
be?
is a 4th level spell.
Yes, but we got accommodations for time. We have time.
I suppose I would be willing to attempt one. Well, no, the ones that are created when one dies would be native to our plane.
Maybe.
Because they were born on this plane.
What
I mean-
constitutes a birth on this plane?
Is it considered birthed on our plane? Parts of our body might regenerate. If I'm healed on this plane, but I'm from another plane, my arm is now from this plane. Does that make me from this plane? Perhaps these creatures aren't individual, but part of one.
Man, the ship of Theseus is a way more important question in D&D.
We're wasting time on philosophy. Let's just see if it works or not.
Fine, fine. I'll do it.
I also am able to, if you would like me to.
I'd rather you not have to spend resources unless we know it works. Lorik is going to banish one of them.
Which one?
Probably one of the further away ones.
It is banished, and after about a minute, it comes back.
Lorik gestures to the others as though his point was proven.
Guess that counts.
Do we think they? This also might be a ridiculous question. Do we think they would have a hive mind?
I don't think they have a mind.
What he said.
So true.
Well,
Fair enough.
I can think of another possibility. I'm not entirely sure how feasible it is, but by combining some of my other magics, I can prevent them from regenerating immediately, and once Darius sears away what's left of their blood, that may work.
We could try a combination of it, of anti-healing combined with total eradication. As we've been testing things and speaking, has Lorik's color faded back? Or Lorik's color faded back at all? Or is it still the
Barely.
same? Okay.
He is very red. In fact, he looks very much like the, like we were speaking about earlier, the distilled fluid from them.
gonna ask him how he's feeling now.
He just looks at you and it's just like, not happy.
That smile is upside down.
How do you feel, Red?
Is he actively getting worse?
No.
Just barely getting better after a long time.
Do we have empty bottles anywhere?
Probably somewhere. And it's not this. Oh, I
If only Daya was here.
I have an empty bottle from a healing potion I drank a while back. I don't know why.
I don't care where it's from, please, Sloric.
Alright. Alright.
I'm sorry. I normally will. I love to hear your voice, but
Sorry.
as he takes the bottle, he's gonna look Sloric. Do you think what's making you feel bad? Do you think, and he's holding the top on it very closely, you could put it in here?
It just stares at you.
Strunhoff.
I asked the same question telepathically.
It's essentially I can try.
All right, he's going to to basically like, should I put it in him or is he going to expel it? I don't.
Sloric moves over to you, begins to put one of his horn/ears in the bottle, and as all of him sort of just begins to flow into it, his like eyeballs sort of pull along and get closer to the entrance of it, and it's clearly not working very well. It's just sort of Sloric is just sliding into the bottle.
It's okay. It's okay. It was worth a try.
Hi.
We compartmentalized them. I was trying to think of a way to compartmentalize them without necessarily dealing with the issue fully, but
Parentheses, is this fun for you guys, or are you not enjoying it?
I have one more idea I'd like to try before I give up on it entirely.
I just don't feel like I have any through lines to like actually any. I'm kind of just pissing in the dark right now, and I feel like
Should
we don't
we-
have any leads or lines to solve it at all.
Do you want an
start
insight back to,
checks.
or sorry, a history back to Korheim?
Would probably be helpful.
Yeah.
Go ahead and give me one. Whoever feels like it. Whoever wants to be the...
I'll
well,
do
you
it.
know. Alright, yeah, that's pretty good. So...
Oh, that was
The-
an advantage. Hold on.
That's still fun.
It's
16,
just-
it's just the
16.
16. Like that's always been the rule, and is you just go with what it should have been.
The first one.
The big things that were going on there was the it wasn't called Mind Crusher Helm. What's it called? Mind Pressure? Is that the one? Yeah. There were the Mind Pressure Helms. There were the bottles of distilled sap from them, whatever they are. There was the regeneration tubes. There was the big clay portal. There was the room with the ketters and the like whatever it was that was enchanting / fearing them, and there was the back storeroom which had both a few things of supplies as well as big vats of water.
Big vats of water.
Water on
Can
I thought there were barrels of water, right?
Yeah.
can I just like pour some water on one?
Ew.
Just very lightly, just on the side of it.
It sort of flicks its head off at it, like it shakes off.
Okay.
Kind
You add
of like
water
a
to
dog.
Spork.
Mm.
Adding water to Sloric does end up helping flush a little bit of the red out with the water. It's certainly taking
Just-
more of the creatures than it is him.
Like out of existence, or
Like on
overflowing
into
out
the
of him?
water and onto the ground.
But are
What's
they
it-
replicating?
No, not from what Sloric ate of them.
Okay.
Oh,
Of
that's-
note, Darius, or I guess like this is probably Rifter or Zeus since they're the ones who are looking around. some of the water that Darius poured onto the creature, after it flicked it off, some of it started to puddle up near one of its feet, and its foot is sort of just starting to disappear as it's sinking into it on that foot.
They dissolve in water. They're like cotton candy.
It can't be that simple, right?
Sorry, what? I tried
Its
it.
foot is.
Oh,
No
Oh my.
way.
I can't believe they're made of salt or whatever.
But we have to get the water under them. Does
I
anyone
thought-
have?
I thought it was the I thought the psychic thing was the solution because of the eels, if you remember them, you all. But
Mm.
no way.
Well, the eels also.
How much water do we have on us at the moment right now?
If I'm not
Not
mistaken,
enough.
as much as you need.
No, I'm asking to the party.
Yeah, you have a
Yeah, don't we-
decanter.
Yeah, we got the answer. I was gonna say.
Wait, when did we get a decanter of endless water? Holy shit.
Yeah, you have essentially a budget decanter of endless water since like session 0. You've had like the one that just has a very limited flow, right?
Oh
It's
my
endless, it's just
God.
slow.
Dire. Also dire.
Oh yeah, also
Yeah.
Dyer has his
It
whole
just
machine
really
of make
produced.
more fluid. You know, now that I say it like that, I regret my word choice.
I mean, I would just say start pouring water on the ground.
Or to avoid. Actually, no, I don't think we can realistically herd them into a container.
Again, are they attracted to any food? Is he just going to take
They
out
don't
no
have
food? Oh yeah.
First thing.
Why don't
Okay.
we send someone to the surface for barrels of water?
We
Alright.
have water.
We do have water, but we don't have a large abundance of it right now.
It would take time.
All right, but before we do that, I want to test one more thing.
Alright.
He's gonna look for some area where it was dissolved, probably that's fallen out of Sloric, excuse me, and he's going to try and evaporate it with his heat.
It disappears immediately.
All right, we have a solution then. Cover the entire floor with water, and then I will start evaporating it, and that should be should be the whole
Alright.
thing.
Let me get these books up off the floor. Darius, can I borrow this bag of holding real quick?
As he steps over and hands it to him. It
Lord,
doesn't
kind of-
have an enormous amount of room in it. I'm not going to give you. You know what? What the hell? Take the large one.
Alright.
However many.
I don't even know how valuable these books might be, but I don't want to be the one they point at to saying we ruined their books.
Well, none of them. I don't think anyone upstairs would really know much about them other than what they've read from the reports,
Fair enough.
or what they've read of them.
Still, best not to destroy this kind of knowledge, whatever's in there.
They're not
Alright.
already burned from Darius's.
Darius was to the south.
I mean,
Okay, gotcha. I
that
wasn't
was-
sure how large the.
It was part of it, but they're just a little singed on the outside.
Okay.
He very quickly stopped when
Yeah.
it was not working.
There's
Yeah.
like charring, you might not be able to read some of the covers, but like everything internal is totally intact.
Sorry, I didn't mean to actually also be like, actually, we fucked up more than we realized.
Actually, fire is
I'm
hot
actually-
and water is wet.
Classic. Alright.
Fire works poorly.
The mighty sun.
Oh yeah, baby, the mighty son.
Alright then. I think we're good to start dissolving them, I guess.
It takes about an hour of just constant pouring, but the ground is currently covered in what originally would be about a ½ inch of water to 2 inches of water, but that eventually ends up becoming about
Nah.
about an inch and a half of exceptionally sticky and very gross bloody sap mixed with water.
Alright. Let's get rid of this.
Simply like even trying to walk around a little bit is kind of fucking disgusting as it sticks like partly between your shoes and the floor. It's like
Alright,
walking. It's like stepping in honey and mud at the same time.
You all should step back. We might need more water to dilute it more, but for now, even if you're not affected by the heat that it produces, if the liquid is and it starts boiling, you're gonna feel that.
Right.
So
Oh yeah, that really sucks for the Orc and Rifter. They don't have shoes.
Come on, Rifter. Let's.
I could just levitate.
Yeah.
sorry
they-
for you two. You are going to have to burn that off of your feet or evaporate it off of your feet.
Rifter, I'm imagining that even with like all of your, advanced not being slowed down technique, you're still only moving at like 2 tiles per turn, and Lorik's even worse, like just sometimes managing to move 5 feet in 6 seconds because this shit is fucking sticky. It is thick and it sucks. And it's horrible.
More
and
water at your
it's
feet.
gross. Meanwhile, Schoonhoff just abuses his the caster martial diff and just floats over.
Shirthoff, let the cat down.
I've evolved beyond the need for feet.
Flork, you should come over with us. You don't want to get boiled.
Thoric just sort of rolls along the top of it, not really being stuck to it right now.
Gods, I envy you.
His eyes just like roll along the ground and then back up over as he just rolls like a wheel.
How is he still like reddish?
Yeah, he's about 60% of as red as he was earlier.
I'm gonna give him another drink.
It's better.
All right. And now time for Darius to roleplay as the mighty sun.
The mighty sun.
Is Pyro TF2?
The water part ends up dissolving very quickly. The actual sap ends up staying a lot more resilient than you thought it would. This is just your aura, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So after about 30 minutes, a lot of the sap has broken down. Some of it's crystallized and sort of hardened due to the heat, but most of it has boiled off. It's starting to smell pretty rank.
We're going to need more water.
Have we sent someone?
You
for
have as much water
barrels?
as you need.
All right. He is going to, while he's walking through any part that seems to crystallize from the heat, he's going to explicitly try and dissolve in more water.
Yeah. At this point, y'all seem to have the situation under control. You can just go in and go through the dungeon and understand that it takes about 5 days to go through and do everything.
Jesus.
Fuck. All right. I mean,
There's
take
nothing else in the dungeon. Just simply go around as you will.
Oh, there's not even flesh monsters?
Well, go ahead and go around.
So, Rifter, I was thinking the devilish debonaires or something might be good for our name.
I still think Tyrant Slayers is the best one.
Look, I think it's very on point, but for some reason the others don't like it. I don't get it.
Just because they're afraid of honesty.
Over the course of these 5 days, do we get our spells and such back?
Yes.
Okay,
Like,
thank
Obviously,
God.
Oh my god, I get my spell slots back. Thank God.
What's up?
Oh my God. This
Darius is specifically looking out for the glow of the blood as he's moving through these rooms.
And Zeus will help.
As we're going through, because as I remember, we were in a bit of a rush to get the fuck out of here. Through the areas that we really didn't get that good of a chance to look through, I would like to snoop around to see what we might have missed. Any goodies? Any shinies?
Nothing in this room. You already looted this last time. I have that marked down.
Oh, lol. Okay, well, just in general, I guess.
Yeah.
Is kind of what I'm getting at. Like,
That's a door. It's a big door that is controlled by a button in the other room that you end up figuring out because you go through and try to be thorough about it.
had a strange idea. Do you think that maybe the reason there aren't any flesh monsters left here is they tried to attack these things and were turned into more of them?
Well,
Don't get ahead of yourself. We don't know if they're here yet or not.
Good news for you, Lorik. As you explore down into the southern part of it, and since the water doesn't really expand too far, since as it mixes with the sap, it sort of puddles up, so it's not able to expand to the entire dungeon at one time, you you still have like mushroom boys even on the 5th day. It's just a matter of making sure that the sap's not there. Over there, you see a blade trap with, as you get there, some of it just absolutely clogged with their bodies. As there's just like dozens and dozens of them that are like half dead, but not actually dead. And just like, you know, clogging it up, preventing it from spinning as it continues to try to do so. This was the
Darius is
area
just
most
going-
covered in their sap and blood before you got there.
Yeah. Jesus.
Oh my
My
god.
urge to try and keep one of these as a pet. It's so strong.
Chaotic
Oh,
evil. Yeah, literally, they just like it's just, you know, oh hey, look, a blender walks into blender.
I love this thing so much.
Loric is stuck.
Lork stuck.
Loric's token is stuck.
Good.
Oh
That's-
no.
That is probably because I accidentally moved part of the map and then tried to move it back.
Alright. All the way at the end, it's all like just good, natural,
Yep.
right?
You are thorough.
Oh, that's morbid.
Always
So-
is.
Oh,
I just don't like those things.
is there something in the middle of this pile of them?
Well, I
Yes.
think that might be one of the plus creatures.
As you get closer, you see as they're kind of just piled on, each of them sitting and rooting themselves almost to some of the flesh creatures. Their legs just kind of merging with it.
With their help, I have been trapped in a wall.
Not you too.
Off stuck! Off stuck!
I didn't even move anything that time.
Maybe
No,
I can get
I
trapped
did.
in the wall
It was
too.
my fault.
Don't you become stuck too, Chad!
Trying to get stuck in a
DM
wall.
said it's my turn to get stuck in a wall.
Can't do
Chad,
it. That's
if
not
you stuck, you're gonna be more stepsister than anything else.
Uh-oh.
Alright.
So I Rifter suddenly feels very curious, and he is going to go ahead and I want to try to split this thing open and see what its interior organs are.
Rifter, you should step away from
Of
the
note,
massive
there are
cloud
still
of-
a bunch of the Shumites right now. Because
Oh, I'm sorry, I
y'all
thought
are
you
just
said we cleared them
discovering
out.
this
Yeah.
area.
Darius
Like this is like
rolling
day
his
2
eyes
or
and
3 or
just-
something.
Okay,
just
I'm
continuing to dump water out onto the floor.
Yeah, I'm assuming at this point we've somewhat sped the process up by getting barrels of water down
Yeah,
here.
we just have buckets.
Yeah, we
Bucket
were able
bird.
to we were able to confirm our methodology, show them the methodology worked, and we probably even got extra hands on the job.
They have a few mages working on just funneling down water by just casting it at the top of the hole.
Isn't there like a cantrip or something? Like manipulate water? Isn't that a thing?
Well,
Well, you need to have water to manipulate in the first
Aye.
place, right?
if there's no water in the first place, it's actually a surprisingly potent spell to create it.
Oh, didn't know that.
I just know a guy who did it and used tricks with it. That just seems like a very important thing right now.
Can you use control water on a being that's mostly water?
I mean, isn't that everything?
Yeah, well, that's what I'm wondering.
No,
Really not
the
good things.
I can't say whether there have been any arcanists who've tried something of the sort, but
The closest you could get is attempting to try to do it on a water elemental, but they already have much more control over the water than you do. The big issue is that you can't see the water inside of people.
and for that matter, how do these people know that people are mostly made of water?
The hell of it.
Hey, Lorik, there's this little known thing of people die.
Yeah, fair enough.
Rifter is an educated bird.
Lorik just went full, hey, how did people know that x-rays existed before, or that skeletons existed before x-rays?
Obviously, the skeleton wars, duh.
Wait,
Oh,
skeletons
yeah.
are real?
Nah, no way.
Yeah, skeletons are real.
Nah,
Skeletons
skeletons are
are
giraffes.
You got in charge, right?
Are you trying
hate
to
it
tell me
here.
that I have a skeleton in me?
Yeah,
Are you telling me that I'm part
if
man,
I
part
had a
skeleton?
skeleton in me,
Skeleton
I
man.
would know. I know my body much better than you do. If
There's
there
two
was a whole
skeletons
other
within
person
you.
in here, I'd be the first person to know.
The real question is it an elite red skeleton in me?
Yes.
Doubtful.
All right. We make our way through. We purge this same.
As you,
flesh.
Rifter, as you investigate the body after many of the shoe mites have been removed, and having like taken interest in it beforehand, you see that many of the areas where they had been sort of almost taking root, some of the paw prints almost grew like roots that started to go into the flesh creature before Darius attempts to move in and burn the flesh.
Oh. You see this? These growths, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But that ain't normal.
It seems that they can take root in some things.
Nothing these things do is normal. I just want
That's
it to be
okay.
open. As he starts the purging.
On that note, Mr. DM, what I'm looking to see is, do these things have like normal lungs? Like, do they breathe? Like, I guess I'm just trying to figure out if they have any organs that would be familiar.
The shrooms or the
The flesh creature.
They certainly have mouths. They certainly have teeth, and they have insides for processing food. As far as lungs, it depends on how liberal your usage of the word lung is.
Okay. In that case, do I find something I don't recognize if I cut this thing open?
Yeah,
Or when I cut this
you
thing
find
I mean,
you find almost everything you don't recognize. And that's as somebody who would recognize most body parts if you cut somebody open.
Okay, I was about to say that. Okay, then never mind then. Rifter, after looking at the body, is like, yeah, no, I can't make heads or tails of this, and he just drops the thing.
oh, I think that may be the head right there.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah,
I'm
the
not sure it has
outsides are
that.
pretty easy to identify. It's like, oh yeah, that's a head. Oh yeah, that's like an arm. But
That's
then
a
like
tail.
pop it open, like even the simplest thing is, oh, how does the muscle work? Like it's completely different than like how people muscles work.
You know, Rifter, maybe next time we take a visit to her, we could try asking her about these mushroom things, if she knows anything about them at all.
You already have. She doesn't.
Oh,
In fact,
It's rather unfortunate.
that's why you're here. At least part of it.
ah.
Dead mushroom baby storage.
That's fucked up.
Shroom. Me when I'm in a head empty contest and my opponent is a shroomite.
You mind telling me where to the entrance of this dungeon did you see a sign that said "Dead Mushroom Baby Storage"?
So, just for the sake of explaining things a little bit, do we find anything else that's unique or interesting while we're,
Yeah.
I mean,
I assume we're being thorough
ultimately,
about this.
more it just depends on if you find those two things interesting, like how they're interacting with the world around them, like getting stuck in saws or like leeching off of like the flesh. Like if you don't find more stuff like that interesting, not really.
Okay.
Will there be stuff that builds off that, or is it more of the same type of interaction of, oh yeah, they
You know what,
let me.
there's one thing. Let's do that.
Okay.
I am moving the party.
I'm moving myself to where I'm aware you are.
Whoops, Rifter was
I'm
in the walls.
Rifter is in the walls.
Is that everyone?
stuck.
Yeah, that's everyone. Okay.
Burb stuck.
Ah, I see. I think I see what you mean.
Yeah. As you go in, he's just sort of holding one, and it looks super dead, even though it's not dead, in that it's just glazed over what normally would be at least somewhat spry arms using it to move around. It just kind of is limp as it's just sucking some of the energy from it as it's just sitting there waiting. And it turns to look at you all as you approach.
Darius does a narrow bow. I'm not sure if you can understand me, but I do recognize you from the last time we were here, or one of the times.
You get a deep exhaling breath.
Hated that.
Friend or
We
Otherwise-
released it from a similar situation that Dyer was in. I'm not sure much about it, but we've been tasked to clear this area underneath.
It's this
So
evil Kermit.
true.
Oh.
After a few minutes, it dumps the body of it, now very clearly dead, off on the side. You see is there's a few other versions of it that have, like, they seem to successively just shrivel up after they have died. As it reaches over, grab one, it yelps for a moment, but then is instantly like sedated as it just begins sapping its energy instead.
I don't suppose we can leave our friend here to enjoy his snacks.
There might be a better way. Although,
I mean-
no, they're incorporeal. I was going to think we might be able to solve their issue entirely if we found a way to give them one of the vials, taught it how to replicate them responsibly.
It sure ain't easy being green. Is the phrase.
But
Who says that?
I believe it was a grung I once met. A Kermite, I believe was his name.
I'm going to kill you.
Rifter stab.
So
Zeus.
you stumble upon this guy on day 4, and as you deliberate on what to do, in day 5, he's still, like, working on the same Shumite. It's a very slow process.
I don't want to aggravate it. It's not doing anything wrong. But we do need to clear this area out, so... He is going to start pouring some water on the floor and see how it reacts once it sees, if it sees, some of them dissipating.
It just grabs another one and holds it next to it.
Alright, then he's going to continue what he was doing as he pours water on, and this time he's going to not use his aura to destroy them because he's not gonna
After all of the rest of them have been sapotized, he crushes one of them that's in his hand.
Darius nods and turns. We're going to have to inform them about this.
About his agriculture.
Suppose so.
They have a neighbor down here who. Anyway.
Well, he's aware of how to replicate them.
Mhm.
He seems to be responsible enough to know not to replicate them too much, and he can deal with them individually, so...
Aye.
We'll clear everything else out. Confirm about the creature and we have. I don't know what I'm even saying. It's been a long couple of days.
Go ahead and give me a persuasion roll, Darius.
You got it, boss. You already know it's gonna be below a 6 because I'm rolling d6s today, like I always do.
Oh, yeah, could I give you the help action to try and... Oh, never mind.
Wow, would
I
you
got a
look at that?
19.
That's a 19. That's definitely a 6.
Yeah, see, I have to presuppose.
Yeah,
That's gonna be
how
bad.
about you presuppose yourself some bitches?
I mean, Darius already has.
Damn, got him. Yeah, despite it being a very tough pill to swallow, they talk about how it is the correct thing to at least attempt to start diplomacy with it if it's harvesting it, and just as long as you make sure that there's only as few of them as it will allow, they'll try to handle it from there, given that
He's
you've
also gonna
provided
approach the angle.
provided them the means to deal with it.
He's also going to approach the angle that it also gives them the angle to potentially use this so that similar situations don't occur in the future. You can use them to consistently experiment with them, to figure things out about them, to eventually use their abilities to heal, maybe that kind of stuff.
The Third Army is rather enthused about that.
Should we also bring up the point... this is me speaking as BBQ. Should we also bring up the point that this Kermit-looking motherfucker was someone who suffered under the Fenvenon regime?
Nope.
Okay.
Because that would implicate us, and we don't.
You know,
wanna
that's a good
implicate-
point.
Hermit looking motherfucker.
All right. I suppose that is that then.
Yay, Chibalo done.
Yeah.
And we did it without burning the city down!
Chibalo's
Yay!
speedrun!
Hey, we haven't
I
left the
mean-
city yet.
No.
You take one step out of the city's front gates.
Oh.
Then you're allowed. Now you are allowed to cheer.
Me
Diet.
lobbing a fireball at the city in the background.
Now,
Well,
you
so
sent
long
all
and-
those bags of flour, right?
So long, and thanks for all the coin.
See
All right.
Rifter off in the distance with a fire bomb.
Rifter, no!
Revolutionaries are never satisfied.
As they shouldn't be.
It's
So
not
we
just a movement. Doing it once ain't enough. It's a revolution. You gotta keep doing it over and over and over again.
So we got paid a total of 5 gold for our troubles, right?
Think so.
Okay.
Wow.
I don't think
Right,
it was a
that's-
payment. I think it was more like a
Okay,
like a supplies fee. Yeah. Fee. Why did I say fee? Words are hard.
I totally get that.
Now the party has to choose. How will they move forward?
Well, we could attempt to go by boat like we'd mentioned earlier. There should be some nearby ports that aren't the capital.
Should be about half a day north.
And even if that may be a bit of a detour, well,
It's not.
yeah.
We just have to find a boat that's going to take us all, figure it out. Might cost a little bit, but it is what it is.
I also would just like to say thank you for taking this little detour for me, to collect some things. It's very much appreciated.
It's not an issue
Listen.
at all.
Listen. On one hand, yes, we are trying to build trust. We are trying to build a good relationship. On the other hand, I want you to be fully aware that this is something that we do to build trust and a relationship with Cassandra as well. I don't mean to rain on the enjoyment or the appreciation that it might bring, but I want to lay it out front that this isn't fully for you.
I mean, in complete fairness, I thought you were going to say far meaner things there, so this is a win in my book.
On that note, I would argue that before we go any further, we should have those of us who have partaken have another meeting with her to, I don't know, touch base, glean some further information.
I would normally say yes. However, I would prefer we let this hold until I found the weapon, and we can
All right.
converse more about more things at once.
All right.
Because she did say she would provide what aid she could. She would look into what aid she could provide.
I mean, do we? Wait. Also, can Zeus just meet her, or is like the whole party? We are all on like material limited meetings. with
It's
her?
not so much material limited as it is Darius is the one he's allowed to authorize or deny because he's the one who, has it.
Got you. Okay. Fair enough. But I would like to drop these off, just as soon as possible. I'm sure that would, make the relationship even better. But, of course, we have, in order to do things, get the most bang for your buck, as it were.
Indeed. Plus, I don't want adrenochrome catching on to us. Sorry.
All right, let's get on the road then.
What road?
The metaphorical road. Lork wasn't talking about an actual road. He was talking about the
Let's
road.
get on the hill, and then on the river, and then on the ocean.
Over the
Thank
river and through the woods, I believe.
I mean, it's more like a jungle, but sure.
Yes.
As I assume, we head north.
Mm-hmm.
This is 4.5 days, so you don't get to make us roll our 5-day.
Wow.
Check, bozo.
Wow.
Ha! Ha!
Uh,
Carino.
as you get there, Darius ends up showing, for the briefest moment of time, is perhaps a little bit of his darker side, as he has to attempt to negotiate to allow all of you onto one of the ferry transits out towards the coast, and normally them not wanting to do so, but, pulling some of the moves, both the kind ones and the not kind ones, gets you on your way. You do a little bit of tasks for them as you do to pay your way up until you get to the coast, where you're eventually able to begin setting up and actually attempting to get in preparation for sailing around the Savage Kingdoms to get closer to the God, how do you even pronounce it again? Shipam Dastard? No.
I have to look at the word again. I think it's Sripul Dastur.
That'll do it.
I believe the whole thing about the UNT dialect is multiple different types of long S's denoted by different types of S letter combinations.
I see. Parentheses, clueless.
Hold on, I have a meme for this.
I get it. Doesn't get it.
Rifter, I'm currently at 54 alternative names for the party. What are you at?
Only got 20.
20? What's your favorite backer?
Well, it's my favorite, but I don't think they're gonna go with it. I think Team Phoenix Raven is definitely a good pick.
I like this. We should each have our own, like one of us is Eagle, or the other one is Raven. We have code names.
Darius, they're trying to democratize the group name.
No. We're going.
Oh.
We're not talking about this. Focus on work, finding information about boats, gathering supplies for everything.
I think this
Anything to keep your minds off of this horse shit.
This is highly important. I mean, how many times will we be asked about
None.
who we are?
Rifter
happened
and
once.
the Lizard Lords.
I like this one as well.
In all fairness, we've only been asked about that once in over a year of adventuring.
I distinctly think that it has happened more than once. I am almost positive.
And the other times we were just able to identify using our names.
Yes, but wouldn't it be so much nicer just to summarize for people that know what we do?
Some of us might want to be secret, and so if you just name the group, we don't have to give our individual names. Maybe.
Yeah. See, there's benefits to name the group.
Exactly.
You know what? We could be the BLT, the Bi Lizard team.
This is also good.
I'm not doing this.
The best I came up with was Kraken Committee, so I don't know. I think
Why
someone
don't you
else.
get Kraken?
Well,
Yeah.
see, I just started thinking of words, and I thought, well, that might be good. I'm not very good at coming up with, what's a flashy name? I
I
assume
don't know if
you
you're
all
trying
want
to
a
crack a
flashy
joke,
name.
but it's not working.
I'm not trying.
Let's-
I'm being genuine.
Let's move on from this, please, while I still have some semblance of my sanity.
Fair enough. Rifter and the Lizard Men it is.
I like this.
You say those words again, you will lose your tongue.
Like I can't grow it back.
Nice, good one.
You're right. I don't think you can.
I would ask if you want to test this theory,
I
but
much,
I don't
very
like the
much
look
do.
in your eye.
Here, come.
What?
Hey, excuse me?
You
what? You heard me.
Diet, I don't like this group anymore.
Okay.
God damn it. I hate it here. I hate it here.
Following sequence, Rifter is going to use his cloak of invisibility and stealth as hard as he can, and he's going to say, "Rifter and the Lizard Lords" next to Zeus, so that it sounds like he said it.
I
Nice,
am-
Darius. Yeah,
he turns
give me
around.
a
I told
perception.
you as he starts pulling his lance out of the ether.
Give
This
me
is
a
good.
perception, unless you want to just fail it.
You know what? We'll give him like the 1 in 20 chance to actually understand.
Not
I
a
don't
bad. Alright.
Zeus
You
is
know
going
what
to
I said.
immediately drop Psychic Veil and become invisible.
Can we leave this behind, please? We do actually have places we need to be.
You know what? No, Lorik, you're right. He can't stay invisible forever. Now that you mention it, Rifter, you can't stay invisible forever either, can you? As he looks around, not seeing Rifter.
I would like.
My
I would
honest
like-
reaction.
I would like to pop up behind Lorik and be like, "What do you mean I've been here the whole time?"
You know that's not how perspective works, right?
What do you mean?
Shadows,
What about him?
whatever.
I would like to unleash the bomb I found underground.
Oh no!
Kill everyone.
And that, my friends, was an excellent use of invisibility.
Let's go.
This just makes me waiting for Rat when I can fully
Yeah.
and unironically say I cast Pipe Bomb.
Yeah. So true. So
Yeah.
here's the biggest concern and the dilemma that you end up having, Mr. Dario. Go
Dario.
ahead and give me a persuasion and a flat 20. I wanna see what kind of captain you determine to be the best one for getting you there.
Jesus
The
Christ.
funniest one.
Fucking hell, man.
Give me a regular. All right.
That's better than I normally roll.
Chad, how the fuck are you?
All right,
this
that's pretty cool.
demonstrably
That's pretty
unlucky?
cool. Okay. As you
I
go
should-
about, the only one that is even willing to make that far of a journey, like in any sense of reasonable time, as opposed to just going like a quarter of the way and then saying you're on your own, is a cat person who's in full. Damn it! Why am I not able to remember names today?
Tabaxi?
Actually.
The other one, Leonin.
Leonin?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, we're so smart.
Yeah. Leonin, who's full on like black fur, looks rugged beyond the ears, very well adorned hat, very, very proud of it. Rather brash and abashed about it.
Nice hat.
Quite.
Cool
Yeah,
hat. Hand
she,
it
her,
over.
they, them, cool hat. Who, as you're first going through, is one of the only people who's even willing to go that far. And maybe it's because it's a little bold, because, you know, there's a lot more monsters in these oceans than there are in the protected bay of the Empire. But then again, time is also kind of important. You don't really want to spend 4 months traveling up and down the coast. You'd rather spend, like, you know, the, like, 20 or 30 days that you'd get by being more, you know, abashed about it. And the only part that comes unfortunate, at least a little bit, is that you start to get the idea that maybe these aren't the most kind intentions of sailors most of the other time.
So they're pirates.
Aye.
He's a jolly good pirate.
You know, and if they want to do piracy on their way, I don't particularly care. As long as they keep their hands off of us, we won't have to gut them.
Do you think we can
And as
join
long as they
them?
don't try to enlist us.
I mean, if they see us at work, they'll try.
I was once friends with a pirate.
Is that so then? Unless the party sends objections.
I mean, it should take. You know what? It'll be enjoyable.
You
It'll
know,
be a prelude.
I can't afford to make any major objections about this.
Can I size them up and see how tough they look?
Sure. You are now a swashbuckler. That does feel very in character.
Hey.
Yeah, I would like to, like, I don't know
You
what this
trying to
would
do
be.
it on straight up the captain, or you trying to go something else?
I'm not like asking them, or I'm not like interrogating them, right? I'm like eyeing them up as a
Yeah.
hardened criminal myself. I'm like, I want to know if they have any like scars, any tattoos, you know, like gang things that I'm like, okay, these guys
The
are
only
serious
one that
fucking
chips
business.
your alarms at all is that the quartermaster for the captain seems a little bit green. They're very much more on the simply, I'm just here to manage the crew and the supplies. Everyone else can handle the rest of it. As for everyone else, yeah, they're pretty hardened. Like, you'd probably be able to take them in a fight. Like, all of you would be able to take all of them, but like, there's a good chance that any three of them could probably give any one of you a big ringer for your money.
Okay, all right. In that case, that's about what he was expecting. All right, and as he does, he says, all right, they got my approval.
Can Zeus eye them to see how easy he thinks it would be to either cheat them out of money in a game or steal from them?
Here's the thing, how easy it would be, you'd give yourself like a 70-80% chance in the positive, but you also understand that, you know, things probably wouldn't go well for the rest of the journey if you didn't, because running away isn't
How
really an
much-
option, and none of you really know how to pilot ships.
But would they catch me? That's
Well, that's the
Does
thing.
he
That's
think
the
they're smart
that's
enough?
the 20%.
Well,
And even
fair
if they
enough.
wouldn't catch you, do you really think they wouldn't just accuse you of cheating?
I don't
even if
know.
they had
Zeus
no
is a
idea.
very trusting individual. You know, you walk up to him, you go, "This guy, I trust this guy with at least my kid." You know what I'm saying? Zeus is going to just be like, "I agree. I think this is a good choice."
They are sailors. I would be flabbergasted if they weren't also cheating.
That
True.
sounds a little rude of you.
Mm-hmm.
It's not motivated; it's their profession.
It's just what it is. They're sailors, bro. I don't know what to tell you.
Whatever.
All right, let's just not make trouble for ourselves.
Let's not
Or
make
for them.
trouble. And he's gonna put his hand on Lork's shoulder. As much as you might hate what I'm going to say, if we get into some shit with them, I am going to back them up. I would prefer to be helpful to the people taking us to the place we need to go.
Absolutely.
Besides, if I'm going to weigh the net utility, one ship losing its people versus us getting two and killing a god, kind of, you know.
Right.
I'm justifying this post hoc.
Not willing to
Pre-hoc.
go along with it.
I'm not going to ask you to do anything. other than fight in self-defense, but...
Right.
Zeus, you ever know a pirate or a sailor of any of that persuasion?
Sorry. Was that a question for me? I apologize.
Yeah, I just wanted to know if you ever hung out with any privateers, men who sail the seas.
Well, of course, many a time. You know, I'm a well-traveled individual. I know with I know all the. I'm being a little bit facetious there. I've traveled a few times with them, with privateers of the like, and I very much like the songs that they come up with. My favorite thing is to always engage in any of the revelry of music. It's very enjoyable.
Darius is making loud, expressive honk shoe snore noises as Zeus recites this.
Very reasonable.
Yeah.
It would make sense that some of these people over here, other party members, would not be as excited about the sea life and the wind in your hair and, fun things. They prefer to do boring things like paperwork indoors. But
They
Yes,
lack-
boring things like making more money than you've seen in your lifetime.
They lack
Then
the sophistication and the culture to appreciate the finer things in life.
drink without the pinkies up.
Alright, you two. He's gonna turn. You can steal all the gold you want, but the most satisfying thing is to scam the gold out directly from underneath an entire system.
What do you think I do on the daily?
Zeus, you run an organization that steals from people. It's still individualized. They can only fit as much gold as they can fit into their bags.
But what
I
we may
siphon it
lack
from the
in
system
pockets.
inherently.
Or
See-
what we... Yes, Rifter, you go. You take the lead.
You don't understand the true thief's way. You see, a real thief understands that it is not in value of gold, but what the man's letter, what is in his secrets. This is where real value, real power lies.
I mean, if you don't want your gold, I can take it.
I mean, I never said that. I'm just saying.
No. You clearly said that the value did not lie in the gold. So if
Well,
you
yeah.
don't value the gold, then I will more than happily take it from you.
If we're done being a literal Nancy about it, you know exactly what I mean.
Look, the true treasure were the friends we stole along the way.
Not at
That's
all.
all I'm saying.
But, friends do make a close second.
Also, we have better music. Oh my gosh, better parties. Rifter, you've been to a thieving party before, haven't you?
Oh my god, a party with drugs. All the drugs in it
of the drugs.
is significantly better than any noble party. Well, I suppose depending on the noble, but
Also, not having to have ever purchased the drugs is the even better part of this
Oh
occasion.
my god, yes.
By the way, oh yes,
No, you go ahead.
I was just going to say, Darius, you still have that cocaine on you, don't you?
Yes, I do, and I think the pirates and you will have a good time.
Very excited.
Yes, I'm
Rifter.
using you and abusing you. Well, you wouldn't consider it abuse, but yes, I am using you to get a stronger relationship with the pirates.
Rifter, we can't let this happen.
Dyer makes it well known that he wants to take a fat hit of that cocainer.
This is
So,
going
wait,
to sorely test me.
Zeus, you don't want the cocaine?
Oh, I'm going to partake, but you
So you're
would
gonna party with the pirates and make a better relationship.
for me, please. I'm having fun. All right, I'm not
Mhm.
going to do your
Mhm.
diplomatic missions.
Oh,
Okay.
no, trust me. Whether or not you want to, if you're having fun, you're doing it.
Please.
See, this is what we call, I think it's called implicit coercion, where no matter what choice you make, it always benefits me, and it's always this weird feeling for you, because no matter what choice you make, you either go against what you want, or end up doing what I want.
Rifter, this guy over here, I'm surprised he doesn't go out for some sort of track team the way he loves running his mouth.
That's a good one.
Thank
So
you.
true.
I just enjoy voicing the things that make you squirm.
Interesting.
But he does have you that, you would have to do something that you don't want to do in order to, not be doing what he wants. So what you should do is, just back off the drugs, and then I'll take your hit.
Yes, I'm sure that is exactly what I should do, of course.
See, the difference is that I don't have any obligations to do what's good for Darius, because we're all a team here. So you should give me all the drugs, and I'll party with them, and I'll do what we need.
I mean, you're still doing what I want, regardless of whether or not we're a team.
Rift is doing it because he wants to do it. He's not even considering you. So it's beyond the idea.
Exactly, and you wouldn't be considering me either, but what I've done by telling you now is made you now hesitant.
Well, no, I'm just doing it because I love my dear friend.
Not you. I'm aware that you will take that cocaine no matter what I say, and I respect you for it.
Classic.
But specifically what I've done is now I've made it a deliberation. Now I've gone past the Zeus is going to take cocaine to is Zeus going to take cocaine? I've made you second think it, double think it. That's enough for me. I just wonder how you'll sleep knowing that everything you do on this boat benefits me.
I think I'll sleep very well, but I sure hope that with all of this talking around, you're able to get some sleep.
I mean, it's been rather easy recently.
Well, that's good.
I don't think you quite
hope you have
understand
a
the
very
situation I was in
restless sleep.
beforehand. Have you had a night terror before?
No, I sleep like a baby every single night.
So then you wouldn't understand what it's like to have night terrors every night.
Nope, I can't say I would. I don't know why anyone
I
would
see.
cause themselves to have that, but it is what it is.
Cause themselves. I see. No worries.
Wait a minute, Zeus is terrible. He's victim blaming right now. This is awful. This is a terrible person.
So true.
Guys, I think I just realized something about my character.
Wait, is Zeus a bad guy?
I thought he was the good guy.
Dyer looks over to Zeus. Are we the baddies?
No, we couldn't be. Come on, I'll show everyone my Noel impression. What could possibly go wrong?
That just sounds like a good way to guarantee that you're the bad guy.
Absolutely.
What, are you saying that because gnolls are bad? Are you saying that because you
I'm
think
saying
gnolls are bad
because his
people?
impression is so bad it could only be construed as racist.
Alright, let's get on the road. Or on the water.
Yeah. Anyway, as you go on, you're finally ready to move on to set sail with Captain Blackcom Trajan, the pirate captain leading the grinning bear so bravely down to the coast. It'll be a long journey, probably a solid 30 days, maybe a bit more, but it's better than the alternative of having to take stops every few days and keep up with standard customs. You're not looking for reliability, you're looking for the job to be done and be done fast. You're on a timer, and he's gonna make it quick. Now, on that note, you've now reached your extra half day. Would you mind rolling me a D100?
Oh, maybe we should have taken a day detour so we didn't have to take more rolls on the ocean.
Wait,
How many drugs have
Maybe
you
I forgot what happens with the D100.
Since you're
encounter.
in unclaimed territory, I have a list of random encounter things.
Oh, I see.
Give me another.
No way.
Another
8.
8. Okay.
That's gotta be good.
Uh-oh.
Single digits? Gotta be good.
He would never make it a Kraken, right?
A Kraken is one of the options. We will see if you get it. It's not that one, I'll tell you that.
It wasn't 69, so it's not.
So
Not nice.
true.
So it's not sirens.
A 9 was we lose all of our cocaine. to the
No!
Cocainer.
The pirates
Very
end
close.
up coming upon another ship, and
what?
they do a wee bit of looting. It's a jolly good time for them. Does anyone choose to attempt to participate in fighting alongside them for a chance at some of the loot?
Zeus would help.
What type of ship is it?
It's currently a trade vessel, sort of doing the opposite route that you guys are doing.
So it's a trade ship. Do I know what they're trading in?
Not at a glance.
trade
Not
ship.
until you go there. It's not like they're broadcasting, "Hey, by the way, we're a trade ship trading arms," or "Hey, we're transporting babies."
Yeah, I just thought maybe I could make an educated guess given the vessel, or
Okay,
what are they? Are they
kind
affiliated with the
of
Empire?
social clues would you be picking up from an empire on the other side of the continent?
Yeah, especially since you definitely would not be familiar with the kingdoms as ships.
I'm just like saying like, oh well, it's a smaller ship, so they're probably not shipping like, I don't know, really a lot of fucking weaponry, or oh, they're probably there's not a lot of guards, so it's probably not anything of incredibly high value.
Darius isn't going to participate in the raiding, but he is going to try and identify and value the things that they bring back.
So Darius is gonna try to make goody with the quartermaster.
Mhm.
But
Go ahead and
Rifter will.
give me an insight and a persuasion.
Oh boy, I can't wait to roll well on the insight despite it being low, and shitty on the persuasion despite it being high.
Actually,
Persuasion,
the opposite
that
is
was
true.
okay. Insight 13. That's
Wow.
also okay.
Yeah,
That
and
was
then
12.
you
twice.
end up getting yourself in a good 7 gold of stuff from it. Rifter, go ahead and give me just an attack roll.
Okay.
Alright.
20.
You end up managing, they end up giving you around 4 gold of stuff for your trouble.
Awesome. Okay.
And or you keep like some of that from what you looted because you're like, oh, I like that.
Yeah, I'm like, do I know what we grabbed, or like?
I mean, you were there on the ship, you were looting them.
Yeah, I know. So that's why I'm like, so what exactly do we get?
It's a bunch of different things.
Yeah,
It's a
loot
trade
worth
car.
X gold.
It's a cargo ship. It's transporting
Okay.
supplies that were requested and paid for.
Oh, okay. So it's just random merch. Okay.
Zeus,
Yeah.
Yes.
also give me an attack roll. Yeah, you get like 7 gold.
7 gold.
Dang.
What the heck?
Is there anything that, like, looks kind of, like expensive box holding something?
One of the things you end up stealing as part of that 7 gold is a fancy looking tiny gold statue. Maybe
Ooh,
about
is
3 inches tall.
What does it look like?
It looks like it looks.
Fuck. I love a unambiguous gold.
Unambiguous
Yeah.
statue.
It looks sexy.
Sexy. Damn.
Do not fuck the statue.
Do
Zeus
not
is
put
like,
the
"Give
statue
me a
in the
jar."
jar. I regret my word choice. One of these days I will learn that I should have consequences for my actions.
When will you learn?
This is gonna sell the heck out
When
of
will
this.
you learn?
Hog.
Okay, give me another.
I'm sorry. Who are you asking? to
Somebody
do
else
that?
do it this time.
I can do D100 if no one else wants to.
I'll do it.
Yo, go for
D100.
it.
All right.
Kill it.
95.
Oh, that's gotta
Okay.
be good.
Uh-oh.
That'd be good, right? It's a solid 5.
No, that one is
Mm.
also they take all of our cocaine. It's
cocaine?
surprisingly very specific.
The ship is traveling along at reasonable pace when, unfortunately, the ship's major rudder immediately just stops responding and the ship's dead in the water. They continue to search around and they see a rather large, Imperial defense boat coming after them for doing, piracy.
Oh,
It's
Oh, no.
that is going to be
Oh.
something to be saved for next session because I need to build that.
alas, the
Oh.
consequences of my actions.
So when you say Imperial, you mean from the kingdoms, right? Or
I mean, it is still like internally, it is still an empire here.
okay, I just want to make sure which empire.
Wait, okay, I'm sorry. When you said empire, I assumed you meant our empire. Yeah.
Yeah,
So it's Savage Kingdoms. Okay.
Your new empire.
Your
Western
new
Empire.
empire.
From my perspective, the Darius is evil.
Damn.
Then you are lost.
Wow, that's fun.
You're not with me.
Just so I can continue to prepare, let's assume that you guys do well on this. Hold on, 5.
Oh yeah, and roll the last random encounter.
Oh, well, last.
Oh,
Uh-oh.
However
Okay,
many
so
last
it's,
ones
it's
there
the
are.
28th of Red Bear right now.
Okay.
All right. Go ahead and give me another one.
I'll do it. 33.
Yo, you love to see it. I like double numbers. That's good luck. That's gotta be good.
Yeah, dude. 3. Those are both two good numbers. No way it's a bad encounter.
Give me
Oh,
another
it's
one.
And another one.
Another
The 33 one involved you guys getting loot.
Hell yeah.
Oh.
79.
Everybody collectively gets around like 17 just put in party stash.
Ooh.
Uh,
Okay, so yeah, we all have
79.
17.
Okay, that is one that I will prepare on my own and I will give you a description of in the future.
Oh.
Oh.
That is what since we currently have the one that we know is happening, that's a big important one. Now we have another one that's big important. The only thing is
shit.
that I'll say is that I think both of these will be cool things. If y'all want to, we can just go on and just say, oh yeah, you just do it. Like if you don't think these would be fun.
The pirate battle sounds fun. I would love to have a pirate battle.
Hell yeah.
I don't know what the other thing is though.
And
so
what
obviously-
about the one where you start to see the crests of a giant sea serpent out in the ocean?
That sounds cool as fuck.
Let's kill it. Let's kill
Alright.
it.
I'm here for it.
Alright, so we have our 2 big encounters next time.
Encounter.
Encounter.
JC, did you just do pirate D&D, but like in the same campaign?
Nah. Give me 2 more.
Okay. Unless anybody else wants to roll them, I'll roll them.
Go for it.
Yeah. Okay.
Rolling dice. 77,
Yo.
Alright.
14.
14. So true.
No, 69.
That's what 7 and 7 equal, dude. It was fate.
Yo.
It was faded. So it was 77 and 14?
Mm-hmm.
Alright. I accidentally closed down my reference document. Let me pull that back up. 77. Alright, in 14. Alright. The first one, another instance, that's one I should have remembered. That's just you guys going up and, hey, do you want to continue being pirates? Because, did you happen to know that you're pirates and that you stumbled across a ship? Wow. You're pirates. How does Lorik feel about the party having gone on their 3rd attempt of going out and just eluding poor defenseless people? Parentheses, only partially defenseless. They still have their defenses, it's just practically defenseless because, they're murdering everyone who was defending it.
Yeah. Lorik is going to voice his concerns when we're not in the middle of the open ocean and liable to having shit go wrong.
Okay.
Because he doesn't want to screw the party out of their transportation just on account of this.
Yeah, Darius has largely not been killing people, mostly been fully in with the quartermaster,
Right.
counting shit.
The party
Being
gets 13 additional gold deposited. The last one is they stumble up upon a very strange island that's jutting out from the ocean. We will have a third special encounter, and otherwise, like all three of those will be in their own instances. Otherwise, it will be the 43rd of Red Bear by the time you have landed at the New River.
For that second piracy, I don't think Rifter's gonna take part in that. Unless like self-defense is necessary. 1 piracy is good. 2 is pushing it.
What about the third? Because there were 3.
If there was 3, nah, he's not taking part in that.
Is he showing a bit of concern for his boy Lork?
He was fine with the 1 offer just to do it, but there's no reason to do 3 whole piracies. That's a bit excessive.
Yeah, but money.
Yeah, I mean, look, at the end of the day, I'm gonna bank on the fact that I know 2 very rich people.
JC,
you know.
Second one.
JC out here getting No Man's Sky brained.
Mr. Arthur
Not
Volstrom,
even.
Oh,
probably
okay.
very rich.
Yeah, but money.
Yeah, but
Listen.
money. So true.
Listen, they're Gek.
Wait.
Doesn't matter.
Actually,
Ooh, they are Gek. That makes it morally correct to murder them.
wait. No. This is what I do. After we leave the ship, I just steal everything that they have. That's
Good
all.
luck.
That's what we do.
Smart.
Dude, I believe in us. And by us, I mean me, and by me, I mean my invisibility cloak.
Well, I have a lot of shit to prepare next week, and I'm glad that
Good to
I
know.
have good stuff to do. And
Good
as
to
long
know.
as y'all don't mind that, like, because I know that we've said the campaign's dragging on a little right now, as long as y'all don't mind the fact that this is going to be new, a novel, and completely different kinds of stuff, I'm more than happy to extend it to do these sorts of things, unless you want to move on.
I mean, I'm okay with going on to mainline shit just to do it. I just think that the idea of a pirate like ship battle sounds interesting, like where we can swing from like, you know, the fucking ropes and going onto another ship. Like that just sounds fun. That's the real reason
Yeah.
why I selfishly was like, yeah, piracy, I'll do 1 whole piracy.
I'm okay with doing both of these. I just don't want it to take the whole session, since sessions are very few and far between for me.
Okay. I mean, we're getting better at doing it every week.
Yeah. I'm just saying because this is like the only campaign I have each week at the moment.
Ah, that's what you mean.
Oh, are
Well.
you out of the Monday campaign?
that one ended.
Oh, really? What happened?
Yeah,
Um,
we'll talk about it in a bit.
Yeah, sorry, yeah.
But on that note, I'm very glad to have done this, and it sounds like next session is going to be exciting. And yeah, thank you guys for being here once again. I'm glad to participate in such a wonderful collaborative storytelling with such stupid fellows as yourselves.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Dad.
Adios.
Thanks, Dad. Peace.